Chapter 90. Is this the son of a bitch? Ning Cheng looked at the white-robed man who was cupping his fists in the middle of the applauding crowd, and suddenly felt a bit uncomfortable in his heart. This person did not look much older than him, but was already at the peak of true condensation 6th level. As long as he took a step forward, he would be able to advance to the late stages of true condensation. It looks like his qualifications are quite good, although he is not much older than me, but he already has the cultivation of true condensation 6th level. Although in his heart he was not happy with this guy called Shueyu, but Ning Cheng still admired this guy's cultivation speed. Ji Luofei, on hearing Ning Cheng's words, said disapprovingly, "He is much older than you. I heard that he is almost 30 years old. Moreover, he has a very pure dual spiritual root, plus the Shui clan is the first clan in the Hua continent. Almost all the cultivation resources are piled up on him. In my opinion, he is simply not as good as you. Let's find a place to stay, lest you be seen by the people of the Shui clan, or even your aunt." Ning Cheng did not want to continue to wander on the streets. Ji Luofei obviously did not want to walk on the streets. If not for accompanying Ning Cheng here, she would not even want to come to the Moze city. While looking for a rest stop, Ning Cheng knew that what Ji Luofei said was not wrong. The two of them searched for nearly 2 hours, even though it was already evening, they still could not find a place to stay. "Luofei, since we can't find a place to stay, then let's go out of the city," Ning Cheng helplessly said. Ji Luofei was about to agree, when she heard a surprised voice, "Ning Cheng. Why are you here? Weren't you chased out of the Zhanglu city by Gu Fei?" Ho Chuan. Ning Cheng knew the person in front of him. Ho Chuan was one of the 10 people selected by the Zhangqin 2-Star Academy. Moreover, at the entrance of the Zhangqin 2-Star Academy, when Gu Fei challenged him, Ho Chuan also took the initiative to speak up for him. At this time Ho Chuan was standing next to a beautiful girl. It seems that she came out together with Ho Chuan. After recognizing Ho Chuan, Ning Cheng quickly understood, Ho Chuan was a student of the Falling Star Academy. Since the Falling Star Academy was in the Moze city, it was normal to see Ho Chuan here. Ho Chuan did not finish his words, but Ning Cheng already knew what he meant. He had been chased out of the Zhanglu city by Gu Fei, so how could he appear in the Hua continent, which was so far from the continent in the Mo continent? Logically speaking, he should have been killed by Gu Fei. I really did not expect to meet Brother Ho here. Initially, after Gu Fei and I left the Zhanglu city, the two of us had a huge battle, and I was lucky enough to kill Gu Fei. If it were replaced with someone else, he would not even bother to explain it. Ho Chuan obviously did not believe Ning Cheng's explanation. Gu Fei was followed by Gu Yiming. It would be strange if Ning Cheng had the time to fight with Gu Fei. He did not continue to ask. Looking at Ji Luofei standing beside Ning Cheng, he understood in his heart that Ning Cheng should have come here to look for Ji Luofei. At this time, his view of Ning Cheng had completely changed. Ning Cheng had accomplished several things that were simply impossible to accomplish. Not to mention escaping from the hands of the Gu brothers, it was not easy for them to travel from the Ping continent to the Hua continent. Even if he arrived at the Hua continent, it would not be easy to find Ji Luofei from the Falling Star Academy. However, Ning Cheng managed to achieve all of these. Not only did he manage to do it, but he also did it perfectly. However, just like before, when he looked at Ning Cheng's cultivation, it did not seem to have changed much, and he still could not see it clearly. He already had the cultivation of the Great Circle of Qi gathering 7th level. He did not believe that Ning Cheng's cultivation was higher than his own. "Elder brother Ning, are you looking for a place to stay?" Ho Chuan's view of Ning Cheng had completely changed, and the tone of his voice showed that he wanted to make friends with him. "Yes, it's just that I can't find a place to stay in the Moze city," Ning Cheng said with regret. Ho Chuan looked at Ji Luofei, and said in a puzzled voice, "Junior apprentice sister Ji should be a student of the Falling Star Academy. As long as junior apprentice sister Ji shows her identity, then you can find a place to stay in any of the rest stops." Ning Cheng quickly said, "Luofei is no longer a student of the Falling Star Academy. we did not tell anyone that we came to the Moze city, so I ask elder brother Ho not to tell anyone that Luofei has come to the Moze city. Ho Chuan nodded. Even if Ning Cheng had not told him about it, he would not have spoken about this matter. He was not a talkative person. Let me help you. This kind of simple matter, Ho Chuan was already planning to help. Ho Chuan brought Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei to the nearest rest stop. This rest stop was the one that Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei had just come to. But this time when Ho Chuan took out his academy identity, it was very easy for him to help Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei book a room. Seeing that Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei had only asked for a room, Ho Chuan did not speak much. After saying a few simple words to Ning Cheng, he left the rest stop with the woman beside him. The reason why Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei lived together, in addition to the lack of space, and not wanting to trouble Ho Chuan, there was another reason. It was because they could look after each other. Once there was an emergency, the two of them could communicate with each other at any time. I forgot to ask Ho Chuan to help me make an appointment with Meng Yujing. After Ho Chuan left, Ning Cheng suddenly patted his head. He should have asked Ho Chuan about this matter first. If he wanted to find Meng Yujing, then it would definitely be somewhat difficult. Ji Luofei shook her head and said, Ho Chuan would not be able to see Meng Yujing. If you ask him to help you, then it would be difficult for him. Since that is the case, then I will think of another way. The Moze Grand Plaza is currently recruiting students. Tomorrow I will go to the Clear Sky Academy to take a look. You stay in your residence and cultivate. Ning Cheng thought that although Ji Luofei had only stayed in the Moze city for a short period of time, but there were definitely a lot of people who knew her, so staying in the rest stop was much better than going out. Ning Cheng's thinking was relatively simple. If he and Ji Luofei wanted to go to an intermediate class continent, then they would have to join a 5-star academy. The saying that it was good to enjoy the shade under a big tree was not without reason. The Clear Sky Academy was the best choice. Ning Cheng believed that with his own ability, it would not be a problem for him to be selected to enter the Clear Sky Academy. As for Ji Luofei, he would use the Clear Sky Command Medallion. The next morning, Ning Cheng went to the Moze Grand Plaza alone. Since there were so many academies from the Hua continent that had come to the Moze city to select their disciples, Ning Cheng guessed that the Moze Grand Plaza that these academies were temporarily stationed in would definitely not be small. When Ning Cheng saw the Moze Grand Plaza, he came to know just how big this plaza was. Ning Cheng estimated that this public square was dozens of kilometers long and wide. The public square was densely packed with academies and large and small sects. The number of disciples who came to participate in the selection of these academies was simply innumerable. Nevertheless, the logos of the 5-star academies were still very clear at a glance, and Ning Cheng immediately saw the Clear Sky Academy. Ning Cheng did not immediately go to the place where the Clear Sky Academy would select their disciples, but followed the many people who had just arrived in the Moze city to look at the selection rules of the major academies and sects. The rules were engraved on a huge stone tablet at the entrance to the public square. After looking at the stone tablet and asking the people around, Ning Cheng came to know that his previous understanding was wrong. This time there were so many academies and sects from the Hua continent gathered in the Moze Grand Plaza. Rather than saying that it was the selection of disciples, it would be better to say that it was the preliminary round. Only those who had excellent results in the preliminary round would have the possibility to participate in the disciple selection, or continue to participate in the semifinals. The rules of the preliminary round were very clear. It was a written test. All the cultivators who wanted to enter the second round of the semifinals had to pass the written test of the preliminary round. Only by passing the written test would they be able to enter the second round of the semifinals. There were two ways to obtain the qualifications for the written test. First, pure spiritual roots, dual spiritual roots and main spiritual roots could directly go to any of the academies or sects to register. Second, the rest of the cultivators with spiritual roots, if they wanted to obtain the qualifications for the written test, they could only go to the 5-star academies or sects to obtain it. Third, There were a total of 5 written tests, and each test would be held for 5,000 people. It would be held once a month for 5 consecutive months. Ning Cheng sighed in his heart. There were so many cultivators who came to the Moza city, but only 25,000 people were able to participate in the first round of the written test. In other words, more than 90% of the people were not even qualified to participate in the first round. However, Ning Cheng also knew that this was already very fair, as everyone who came here would have many opportunities. With so many academies taking the test one by one, maybe one of the academies would give them the qualifications for the preliminary round. The preliminary round would last for half a year, so there was a lot of time. If I can't obtain the qualifications for the written test, then wouldn't I not have the opportunity to participate in the preliminary round? Someone immediately asked in surprise. Apparently he felt that this rule was inappropriate. Every academy has the qualifications to participate in the preliminary round of the written test, although the low-level academies and the 5-star academies have a limited quota. If you have the ability, how could you not get it? If you don't have the ability, then why would you participate? Someone next to him immediately retorted. You also know that the quota is limited. In case someone secretly manipulated it, the quota has already been allocated. Why would they wait for us? The person who thought that the rules were inappropriate still disagreed. The person who refuted him was too lazy to continue to pay attention to him, but even if he did not pay attention to him, there was still someone next to him who spoke. You are stupid. Do you know that if a low-level academy can send a student to a 5-star academy, then do you know how big the reward would be? You can't even imagine it. This is not the main thing. If any of the academies were to show off in the written test, then that academy would immediately become famous, and then there would be more people flocking to it, and the academy would be promoted to a higher level. In this kind of situation, there are still people who dare to secretly manipulate it, unless they are tired of living. The more capable you are, the more popular you would be in the low-level academies and academies. I know this. Last month was the 4th preliminary round. There was a 2-star academy that chose a student who scored 76 points in the preliminary round, and was selected to go to the Clear Sky Academy. Because of this 2-star academy was promoted to a 3-star academy, and also obtained a lot of resources. What is the written test about? Someone asked. Who knows? If you knew, then why would you call for a written test? I only know that the content of the 5 preliminary rounds is different. Ning Cheng understood. If the qualifications were good, then they could directly go to a 5-star academy, and represent the 5-star academy in the written test. If the qualifications were not good, then they could find a low-level academy to get a quota, and then represent the low-level academy to participate in the written test. Chapter 91. Ning Cheng stopped a chi-gathering cultivator beside him and said, "This friend, I just heard people say that as long as you get 76 points, you will be selected to enter the Clear Sky Academy." The cultivator stared at Ning Cheng for a while, and then said in a speechless manner, "You just arrived in Moza city? Do you know what 76 points represents? You can go to the 6-array formation screens over there and look at the results of the preliminary round, and you will know what 76 points represents." Ning Cheng looked at the place where the cultivator was pointing, and saw a row of 6-array formation screens. He walked to the front of the first array formation screen, and immediately saw what was going on. These 6-array formation screens showed the results of the preliminary round, and the first array formation screen showed the results of the first preliminary round. The array formation screen showed only 500 people. According to the calculation of the number of participants in each preliminary round was 5,000 people, this was a 10-to-1 rate. The highest score in the first preliminary round was 71 points, and the 500th place on the big screen only had a few dozen points. The second big screen showed the results of the second preliminary round, but the first place in the second preliminary round had a score of 94 points, while the second place only had a score of 63 points. The 500th place also had a few dozen points. Ning Cheng looked at the results of the fourth preliminary round, and finally discovered that the score of 76 points was the third place in the written preliminary round. The fifth big screen was blank, because the fifth preliminary round had not yet started. The sixth big screen was also blank. Ning Cheng had to find another person and asked, "Excuse me, is the sixth big screen set up for the final preliminary round rankings? Does it mean that the first 2,500 people on the 5 big screens will all enter the semifinals? How could it be so simple? The sixth big screen shows the final preliminary round rankings, but it is not arranged according to what you said. Finally, from the first 2,500 people in the preliminary round, only 1,000 people will be selected to participate in the semifinals. The rules of the selection are based on the highest score." The person explained. "The questions of each preliminary written round are different. Isn't this choice unfair?" Ning Cheng did not know if the questions of the written preliminary round were the same, but he guessed that it should be different. How can there be absolute fairness? But since no one raised any objections, then it means that there will not be any problems. This person obviously did not know much. Ning Cheng did not know what the topic of the written exam was, but he simply did not want to think about it, as there were still a few days left until the fifth written exam. He had taken countless tests since he was young. If others could take the test, how could he be afraid of it? At this time he wanted to go to the Clear Sky Academy. He wanted to first ask about the Clear Sky Command Medallion. If the Clear Sky Command Medallion could be used, then he would ask if he could represent the Clear Sky Academy in the written examination. Even if he could not represent the Clear Sky Academy, but there were so many academies in this public square, it should be possible for him to find a place to participate in the written examination. Compared to some of the lower-leveled academies and sects that were overcrowded with people, there were only a few people in front of the 5-star academies. Everyone knew that if you do not have a good spiritual root, then you should not go to a 5-star academy and make a fool of yourself. "Excuse me, what color is the main spiritual root?" Ning Cheng had not even finished speaking when a middle-aged man sitting in front of the Clear Sky Academy's station lazily interrupted Ning Cheng's words. Ning Cheng had to speak up, "I don't have a main spiritual root." "Pa!" The middle-aged man slammed the table in front of him. "Who sent you here if you don't have a main spiritual root? Do you think that the 5-star academies are just playing around with you? If everyone was like you, then how could we do anything? Fuck off." Ning Cheng almost pulled out the spear on his back and shot it at him, a trivial chi-gathering cultivator, yet still dared to be so arrogant. "I want to ask if I can join the Clear Sky Academy with the Clear Sky Command Medallion." Ning Cheng's tone became stiff. "What? You have the Clear Sky Command Medallion?" The chi-gathering cultivator's face showed a surprised expression. He immediately stood up, and his tone immediately eased by 180 degrees. "Excuse me, did you bring the Clear Sky Command Medallion? Let me check it." Ning Cheng took out the Clear Sky Command Medallion and placed it in the hands of the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man looked at the command medallion for a while, as his face constantly changed. After more than 10 breaths, he asked, "Where did you get the Clear Sky Command Medallion? Was it an accident of an academy or an individual? Are you a rogue cultivator?" Ning Cheng did not want to hide it, and just said, "Yes, I am indeed a rogue cultivator. This Clear Sky Command Medallion was something that I obtained by chance." The middle-aged man's eyes flashed with joy, then he coughed, and his expression became dignified as he continued to speak. "What is your request?" Ning Cheng looked at the middle-aged man's face, and felt that this Clear Sky Command Medallion still had some use. He directly spoke out his thoughts. "I have a friend, who wants to use this Clear Sky Command Medallion to join the Clear Sky Academy. If it is possible, I would also like to ask, is it possible to add a place for me to participate in the written test through this Command Medallion? If the second one is not good, then I would like to add another one." "Okay, I know, your request can be completely satisfied. I will put away the Clear Sky Command Medallion. You can fill out the form here. I will apply for a place for you to participate in the 5th written test. The middle-aged man once again interrupted Ning Cheng's words. But this time Ning Cheng felt that something was wrong. He had taken out the Clear Sky Command Medallion, not to obtain a place for the written test. His main purpose was to obtain a place for Ji Luo Fei to join the Clear Sky Academy. Then he himself would pass the written test and enter the Clear Sky Academy. In this case, both of them would be able to join the Clear Sky Academy, and would be able to look after each other. But this man only said that he would be given a place in the written test, and did not say that he would agree to a place in the Clear Sky Academy. Ning Cheng did not fill out the form, and just asked, "My main requirement is not to participate in the written examination, but to enter the Clear Sky Academy." This middle-aged man gave a cold snort, and once again interrupted Ning Cheng's words. "Each Clear Sky Command Medallion can only make one request. I have already fulfilled one of your requests. If you dare to be unreasonable again, then do not blame me for calling the law enforcers over." Ning Cheng finally understood why this person did not take away his Clear Sky Command Medallion. This kind of shameless person was something that he had never seen before. "Give me the Clear Sky Command Medallion, and I will not make any requests for the time being." Although Ning Cheng could not wait to immediately teach this middle-aged man a lesson, but he still held back his anger. This middle-aged man looked at Ning Cheng with disdain and spoke, "Do you think that the Clear Sky Command Medallion is a child's play? This is something that my Clear Sky Academy has given out. Every time you complete a request, it will be taken back. Now we have already agreed to your request. Hurry up and fill in the form. Otherwise, it will be considered as giving up." Ning Cheng was extremely angry. This chi-gathering cultivator's eyes flashed. It was obvious that he did not dare to make a big deal out of this matter. He simply said, "Since that is the case, then I will break in, and look for someone who can speak. Let's see if you, a trivial chi-gathering cultivator, can make a decision." This chi-gathering cultivator saw that Ning Cheng was not intimidated, and his eyes flashed with a trace of panic. At this time, an essence-building cultivator wearing the uniform of the Clear Sky Academy came over. This essence-building cultivator swept his eyes over the two people, and asked in a somewhat displeased manner, "What the hell is going on here? Uncle Jing, this person does not have a main spiritual root." This chi-gathering cultivator had not even finished speaking, when this cultivator called Uncle Jing coldly stared at Ning Cheng and said, "This is a 5-star academy, you do not have a main spiritual root. If you dare to continue to cause trouble here, then do not blame me for being impolite." Ning Cheng did not want to continue to be long-winded. He was ready to take back the Clear Sky Command Medallion. This essence-building cultivator did not even finish listening to his words, and immediately became angry, coupled with the fact that the Clear Sky Academy used this kind of person to select their registered disciples. It could be seen that the Clear Sky Academy was really not that good. Just when Ning Cheng was about to ask for the Clear Sky Command Medallion, he suddenly saw Lan Yinyu. Lan Yinyu was walking towards him along with an old man with the cultivation of essence-building realm. Ning Cheng did not continue to explain, as he turned around and walked away. A Clear Sky Command Medallion for him was nothing. He was not in a hurry to take revenge for this enmity. When he had the opportunity, he would definitely make this chi-gathering cultivator, who had swallowed his Clear Sky Command Medallion, pay him back with his skin and bones. At this time, even if he was asked to join the Clear Sky Academy, he did not have any interest in it. The Clear Sky Academy was at best a 5-star academy. It was not worth it for him to curry favor with them. Lan Yi knew, and he had a grudge, although he was not afraid of this woman, but the essence-building cultivator beside her was something that Ning Cheng did not want to come into contact with. If he did not feel that this tournament was an opportunity for him, he would have already taken Ji Luo Fei away. As for the matter with Ko Hong, he could come back later to look for Meng Yujing. The chi-gathering realm middle-aged man saw that Ning Cheng did not even bother to explain, and just turned around and walked away. He was even more ecstatic in his heart. He had already planned it out. If Ning Cheng really spoke about the Clear Sky Command Medallion, then he would say that Ning Cheng had obtained a Clear Sky Command Medallion. He was explaining to Ning Cheng that the Clear Sky Command Medallion under normal circumstances could only make one request. The role of the Clear Sky Command Medallion in the Clear Sky Academy was far more than just a simple quota. The holder of this token could not only join the Clear Sky Academy, but could also obtain a best quality artifact, as well as a true grade cultivation method that everyone envied. Do not look at the fact that he was selecting disciples from outside the Clear Sky Academy. He was only a disciple of the Clear Sky Academy's outer court. Once he obtained the Clear Sky Command Medallion, he would immediately become a disciple of the inner court, and would be able to enjoy all kinds of treatment. As for Ning Cheng, who had taken out the Clear Sky Command Medallion, he had already planned it out. As long as he could find the right time, he would immediately destroy Ning Cheng. There were 5,000 people in each preliminary round. It seemed like a lot, but it really wasn't much. Ning Cheng went from a 4-star academy to a 3-star academy, and then went to various academies, asking no less than 20 or 30 people, but still did not manage to get a spot. He had the cultivation of true condensation first level, but this kind of cultivation was not as good as a Qi-gathering 9th level cultivator. The true condensation cultivators and the Qi-gathering cultivators had the same questions in the preliminary round, but in the final round, they would have to compete separately. Once separated, the true condensation first level would undoubtedly be the worst among the true condensation cultivators. Ning Xiaoqing. Ning Cheng suddenly heard someone calling him from behind. He did not need to look back. He knew that the person calling him was Zhu Mu'er. This woman was really everywhere. Listening to her happy tone, he guessed that she had obtained a spot in the final round. Ning Cheng turned around and saw Zhu Mu'er waving excitedly at him. He walked over and smiled. What a coincidence, Zhu Mu'er. Chapter 92. The Moze Grand Plaza's examination venue was a large hall. After Ning Cheng and Ji Luo Fei made an appointment, they followed the other participants into the examination hall. Although the topic of this written exam is different from the previous 4 written exams, but I am sure that the degree of difficulty will be the same. In the previous 4 written exams, we tested on talismans, hooray formations, refining artifacts, restrictions and other basic materials. Today we will be testing on the knowledge of alchemy that everyone is familiar with. Of course, we will also be testing on the basic materials. If Zhu Mu'er could not find a place to stay, then he intended to invite Zhu Mu'er to stay at their rest stop. The beautiful young woman saw that everyone understood, and said with a smile, "Everyone, do not stare at me, please pay attention to the table in front of you." The table in front of everyone is a projection array. The topic of this exam is the spiritual grasses of the Alchemy Foundation. The spiritual grasses mainly record the color, taste, shape, nature and other content of the spiritual grasses. This time we are not taking out a complete set of spiritual grasses. There are a total of about 4,600 pages. Ning Cheng also secretly thought that this was abnormal. Almost in less than 5 seconds they would have to look at a piece of paper. Because Ning Cheng knew that here, a page was equivalent to a piece of paper, which was equivalent to 2 pages back on Earth. Moreover, the pages here were a bit bigger. If the words were a bit smaller, then it would be too terrible. After the beautiful young woman finished, Ning Cheng immediately saw the first page of the spiritual grasses on the table in front of him. The content was so dense that Ning Cheng did not dare to continue thinking about other things. His whole mind was focused on memorizing the spiritual grasses in front of him. After the man with the bitter melon face heard Zhu Mu'er's words, his face became even more bitter. "Miss Mu'er, my Huayu Academy has a total of 2 quotas. I have already given you 1, and you still want to ask me for it. Why don't you go look for it in other places?" A few days passed by quickly. These days Ning Cheng did not go looking for Meng Yujing. He knew that with Meng Yujing's status, he would not be able to see her. Ning Cheng took the jade card and thanked Zhu Mu'er, and then said to Sect Head Yin, "Sect Head Yin, thank you very much for your jade card. I will certainly not let you give me your quota. Is your father a advanced level pill master?" Ning Cheng immediately asked his own guess. "Hey, how did you know that my father is a pill master?" Zhu Mu'er stared at Ning Cheng in amazement and asked. All right, I've already said it once, it's meaningless for you to say it again. Zhu Mu'er waved her hand and said in a very magnanimous manner. The hall was so spacious that it didn't seem crowded at all, even with 5,000 people sitting in it. For a true condensation 9th level cultivator, there was nothing more important than an essence building pill. Ning Cheng sat down according to the number on the jade card, and sat down together with the rest of the people who were participating in the preliminary round. He had tried to use his spiritual force to scan the hall as soon as he had entered. However, he realized that his spiritual force could not even extend an inch, let alone scan the entire hall. Not only that, his mind was blank for several breaths of time. For a true condensation 9th level cultivator to be this polite to Zhu Mu'er, it certainly was not because he had a good relationship with Zhu Mu'er, but rather because Zhu Mu'er had promised him something that was very important to him. Moreover, this matter was also related to Zhu Mu'er's father. Sect head Yin hesitated for a moment, but when he heard Zhu Mu'er's rhetorical question, he finally clenched his teeth and said, I agree, I will give you both of the quotas. However, after this matter is over, you must take me to see Master Medicine Master. In addition to the chair that he was sitting on, there was only a table in front of him, and on the table there were a few pieces of white paper and a pen. Other than that, there was nothing else. Well, the introductions will end here. All the candidates who are participating in the preliminary round, please pay attention to your own table, the projection will now begin. Perhaps this was a teacher from a 5-star academy. Once they thought of entering a 5-star academy, they would have such a teacher to teach them how to cultivate. All the people who were participating in the preliminary round felt their hearts burning with passion. They were even more eager to get into action, hoping that they would be able to get the best results in the examination. The beautiful young woman had just finished speaking, when a lot of discussions broke out below. Even Ning Cheng frowned. He simply had not studied the basics of alchemy, so wouldn't those who studied alchemy have a huge advantage? No wonder there was such a big difference in the scores of the first 4 rounds. The people who scored high in the first round must have studied it. Ning Cheng thought about how Zhu Mu'er casually took out a level 3 spiritual growth pill, and then thought about how this sect head Yin was at true condensation 9th level, plus he was very concerned about the matter that Zhu Mu'er had promised him. Ning Cheng could almost guess that Zhu Mu'er's father should be a pill master. Since this sect head Yin had asked Zhu Mu'er for help, it was very likely that it had something to do with the essence building pill. Ning Cheng said his goodbyes to Zhu Mu'er, and returned to the rest stop and told Ji Luofei about the jade card that he had obtained from Zhu Mu'er, but Ji Luofei felt that this Zhu Mu'er had a very straightforward temperament. After half an hour, a beautiful woman wearing a plain white robe came in. She first looked at the people in the hall who were participating in the written examination, and then walked to the front of the round table and said, Today is the last round of the preliminary written examination for the 5 5-star academies of the Hua continent. After today's round, the overall ranking list of the top 1,000 will be released. Most of these 1,000 people will be selected by the 5-star academies. Some of the lucky ones may even be able to participate in the tournament between the 5 5-star academies 2 years later. I would like to wish all of you in this preliminary round, and would be able to get the best results. On this day, it was already the time for the 5th round of the written examination. Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei had already arrived at the Moze Grand Plaza. In order to avoid Ji Luofei being recognized by her paternal aunt, Ning Cheng deliberately made Ji Luofei wear a veil, and wore a female cultivator's wide-brimmed hat. If he had not deliberately swept out with his spiritual consciousness, Ning Cheng believed that Ji Luofei would not have been recognized. How come younger sister Luofei did not come together with you? Is it possible that you are also looking for a place in the preliminary round? That's right, I know, you must have come to help younger sister Luofei to find a place, right? Zhu Mu'er asked Ning Cheng 2 questions one after another. Ning Cheng did not think that this Zhu Mu'er would be so eloquent. He did not know what kind of promise she had made to the Huayu Academy's sovereign. This Huayu Academy's sovereign seemed to have the cultivation of true condensation 9th level, and should be the sovereign of a 2-star academy. Ning Qing thought to himself, with his powerful memory, he did not believe that he would not be able to score 70 to 80 points. His memory was beyond the scope of his powerful memory, it could even be said to be a special ability. The beautiful young woman saw that the crowd below was a bit noisy, so she raised her hand and said, "After everyone has finished looking at the questions, you will know that even if there are some people who have studied alchemy, they would still be standing on the same starting line as you. Of course, it does not rule out that there are some people who have studied systematically, and even the questions that I am about to take out, they might have seen it before. For these people to score high, it is only right, because they are diligent enough, or because they have an opportunity. Of course I found it, it's very simple, my father is known by many people here." Zhu Mu'er said without even half a moment of hesitation. Almost all the people sucked in a breath of cold air. No wonder the score in the previous exam was so low. To memorize 4,600 pages of content in just 6 hours, this was simply too crazy. The first page was displayed for less than 5 seconds, and the second page was already displayed. Those who had a poor memory, could not even remember the first few lines. Zhu Mu'er waved her hand and said, "One thing does not bother 2 masters, you can rest assured, I have already promised you, I will definitely help you. My father always listens to my words, and will absolutely not hesitate for even half a moment, you can only profit from it. Besides, even if you participate by yourself, I estimate that you will not be able to enter the list. If you let me and Sister Luo Fei participate, then we might really be able to help you get a place in the semi-finals, then your Huayu Academy would definitely make a fortune." When Ning Qing heard that the written exam would take 3 hours, he was surprised in his heart. How could it take so long? 7 hours, ah! When he heard that it would take 3 hours to read the questions, and only half an hour to write the questions, he was even more confused. The Moze city's Grand Plaza was soon filled with cultivators from all over the place, because today was the 5th preliminary round. After the 5th preliminary round, the list of 1,000 people who would enter the semi-finals would also come out at the same time. So the people in the Moze city today were especially many, all of them wanted to know who was qualified to enter the semi-finals. Ning Qing had to put away the jade card, and looked at Zhu Mu'er and asked, "Did you find a place to stay?" Zhu Mu'er triumphantly took the jade card from sect head Zhu and placed it in Ning Qing's hands and said, "Look, isn't this the jade card to participate in the preliminary round?" After she asked, she did not wait for Ning Qing to answer, and once again turned to a man with a bitter melon face behind her and said, "Sect head Yin, you might as well give the other quota to us, anyway it would be useless for you to participate, moreover you would not be able to find a better person to represent your Huayu Academy in the preliminary round." Everyone thought that it was true, other people knew a lot, but it was also because of their hard work and opportunities. Wasn't it better for the 5-star academies to select their disciples, the stronger the better? "That is natural, I also have to go back," Zhu Mu'er said, and did not forget to greet the sect head Yin of the Huayu Academy. After the beautiful young woman finished, she paused for a moment, and waited for everyone to understand the importance of the 5th written exam, before she continued to speak in a soft voice. "Today's written exam time is 3 hours, of which the time to look at the questions is 3 hours, and the time to answer the questions is half an hour. Since Ning Qing could not use his spiritual sense, he could only rely on his memory. Ning Qing finally understood why his mind had gone blank a moment ago. Ning Qing was speechless, and said in his heart, "You just wrote a few words on your face, my father is a pill master. Is it really that hard to guess?" With this kind of personality, walking around in the Hua continent, Ning Qing was really worried for her. A few days ago, she was still saying that she would rely on her own ability to show some results to her father, but now she was using her father's name to show off. This Zhu Mu'er really, this beautiful white-robed woman was not only extremely beautiful, but her voice was also incomparably warm, making the people who heard her to feel a kind of comfort and desire in their hearts, hoping that she would continue to speak. Ning Qing was thinking that a cultivator with a strong spiritual sense would definitely be able to remember more things, when the beautiful young woman once again said with a smile, when the spiritual grasses come out, everyone please remember them with your heart, do not use your spiritual sense, as this place is shielded from the use of spiritual sense. If you use your spiritual sense, not only will you not be able to see anything, it will also make you fall into a blank space. It seems that if this Zhu Mu'er did not rely on her father, then she would have to show some results to her father, as she still had a long way to go. Ning Cheng rubbed his head, and said to Zhu Mu'er, then I will go back first, otherwise Luo Fei will be waiting anxiously. I wish you a good result in the preliminary round, and then let your father have a whole new level of respect for you. The contents of the 4,600 pages of the spiritual grasses will be displayed in the projection array formation in front of you in 3 hours. You will need to memorize all the contents of the 4,600 pages within these 3 hours. After the 3 hours have passed, we will choose the questions from the 4,600 pages. Chapter 93. Time slowly passed by. Some people even completely fainted after reading a few hundred pages. So much information flashed by in a few seconds, one could not use their spiritual sense to memorize, and could only rely on their memory. Just thinking about it made one feel scared. Even if one's memory was powerful, continuously using high-intensity memory for a few hours, it was extremely difficult to persist. After an hour passed, fainting was already considered light. There were even several cultivators who participated in the written exam who, because of using their brain too much, vomited blood on the spot. Ning Cheng at this time was completely immersed in the deep level of memory. The content of the exam was indeed a bit stressful for him, but the pressure was not too much. Previously, when he took an exam, he would only read a book for 1 or 2 hours before the exam. The intensity of that kind of memory was also very high. The reason why it was not as good as now, was because he always had a lot of time before the exam. Moreover, he did not need to score 100 points, as he could just sweep his eyes over the page and memorize it. Now that he could only flash a page every 5 seconds, for Ning Cheng, it was still within the acceptable range. As long as he looked at the place, under normal circumstances, he would completely remember it. Ning Cheng knew that his ability, no matter where, was a very special ability. In the I Ching mainland, even the true cultivators could fly, although this kind of special ability was amazing, but it was not as outrageous as it was on Earth. In the beginning, Ning Cheng had just finished reading a page and 2 sides, when the projection array formation on the desktop flipped over. Later, when Ning Cheng finished reading a new page, he still had time to spare. Although this spare time was only half a second, but it was enough for Ning Cheng to sort out the memories, and rest his brain. Towards the end, Ning Cheng was no longer memorizing for the exam. He felt that the things that he was looking at were extremely useful things. A variety of spiritual grasses, their shapes, grades, colors, odors and other identification methods, a variety of spiritual grasses' growth environment and special effects, which pills could be refined, and which spiritual grasses could be combined to produce different effects. Ning Cheng remembered all of these things. He believed that these things would be useful to him in the future. Once, An Yi had also given him a book on spiritual grasses, but the content of that book was not even a tenth of what was in here. 3 hours for Ning Cheng, it really was just a blink of an eye. When he found that the projection on the table in front of him had disappeared, only then did he raise his head. Looking at the beautiful young woman who was still standing on the round platform, Ning Cheng also had a good impression of this beautiful young woman in his heart. For 6 consecutive hours, this beautiful young woman had not moved at all. This teacher was also very competent. The key point was that Ning Cheng could see that this woman's cultivation level was at least at the essence-building realm, or even beyond the essence-building realm. All the examinees who participated in the preliminary written test focused their attention on the beautiful young woman because there were no projections. That young woman once again spoke with a warm voice. There is still half an hour left. I will give everyone half an incense stick worth of time to sort out the things that you have just memorized. The examination room was completely silent. Half an incense stick worth of time quickly passed by. The young woman continued to speak. Before the written test, all the participants please write their name. the sect that they represent on the top of the white paper. After waiting for a moment, she estimated that everyone had already written their name. The young woman then said, "Now everyone please look at the questions. On the table in front of everyone, there will be a projection of the written test's questions. Write down the various properties and main characteristics of the 10 spiritual grasses on the white paper. Remember to be very detailed. The degree of detail must be compared to the basic spiritual grasses that you had just seen. These 10 questions each have 10 points, a total of 100 points." Ning Qing sighed. This kind of question was not a challenge to him. He had already memorized the spiritual grasses that he had just seen. As long as the questions were in the spiritual grasses, he would definitely be able to write them down. Ning Qing looked at the questions, and sure enough, they were all from the spiritual grasses that he had just seen. If he had not seen the spiritual grasses, he would not have been able to answer any of these questions. These spiritual grasses were what he had just seen. He had never seen them in other books before. But when Ning Qing looked at the 10th question, he was immediately dumbfounded. Please write down the first spiritual grasses on page 2932, as well as its various characteristics. It was not that he did not know, but he had not only memorized the contents of each page, but also the serial number of each page. The key point was that if he had to answer this question, it would mean that his incomparably powerful memory would be exposed. If he did not answer this question, then he could use the excuse that he had seen the basic spiritual grasses in other places. Ning Qing knew that even if he did not answer this question, he would definitely be able to enter a 5-star academy. Those 76 points were able to enter. If he could not even get into an academy with 90 points, then it would be a strange thing. If he did this question, then he would be in the limelight, but the benefits would not be much. At best, he would be able to change his ranking from second to first, and then he would be able to participate in the semi-finals as the first, but there would not be any substantial rewards. Regarding the exposure of his memory in this kind of place, Ning Qing was not very worried. The I Ching mainland and Earth were different. This was a true cultivation mainland. There were all kinds of strange people, and he was not the only one with a powerful memory. Moreover, in the future when his spiritual consciousness became stronger, his memory would become secondary. What Ning Qing was interested in was whether or not there would be any substantial rewards, but now that he did not have any rewards, he did not want to be in the limelight. After all, he still had the mysterious yellow bead in his body. Since the last time when the mysterious yellow origin had reshaped his meridians, it had integrated with him. Ning Qing believed that an average person would absolutely not be able to see that he had the mysterious yellow bead, but it was always better to be careful. Since he had already achieved his goal, why would he want to be in the limelight? Ning Qing quickly finished the 9 questions, leaving only the 10th question that he did not fill in. Seeing that half an hour was about to pass, the middle-aged beautiful woman suddenly opened her mouth and said, "This written exam is the same as the previous ones, but there is also an extra question, and the extra question is also 10 points. I will be the one to answer the extra question. Please listen to the question." Ning Qing then understood that the full score was 110 points. If he knew how to answer the extra question, then as long as it was not particularly eye-catching, he would not continue to pretend that he did not know how to answer it. Seeing that all the people were ready with a pen and paper, the middle-aged beautiful woman spoke in a slow voice. "We were just looking at the basic spiritual grasses, and now we are going to give the extra question to the simplest spiritual grasses. The question is as follows: there are now 10 different kinds of spiritual grasses. If you are required to pick out 6 of them to refine into a furnace of pills, how many ways are there to pick them?" This question sounded very simple, and some of the people were already excitedly picking up their pens and combining them on a piece of white paper. But Ning Qing was shocked. Was there really a question of permutation and combination? It took him less than 3 seconds to figure out the answer. The answer was 210. But if one thought that this question was very simple, then it would be a big mistake. In just a few minutes, it would be very difficult to list 210 different combinations. Sure enough, the examinees who had started to use their pens to arrange the combinations immediately knew the difficulty of this question. It was not a matter of a few or a few dozen, it was even more than a few dozen. The last bit of time quickly passed by, but the people who could really calculate the results like Ning Cheng were very few. Time is up, please use the jade card that you used to enter the written examination room to press down on the answer sheet. After 5 breaths, the answer sheet will be directly transmitted away. Hearing that after 5 breaths, the answer sheet would be transmitted away, the examinees who were still arranging the spiritual grasses, quickly wrote down a number, and pressed their jade card on the answer sheet. Ning Cheng had already finished answering the questions. When his answer sheet was transmitted away, he followed the crowd of people who were squeezing out of the examination room. Ning Cheng had just come out, when Ji Luofei, who had been waiting for a long time, anxiously ran over and asked, "How are the results of the written examination?" "There should not be any problem on the list will come out in a moment, let's wait outside the big screen." Ning Cheng pulled Ji Luofei out of the crowd. Outside the Mose Grand Plaza's 6 huge array formation screens, at this time it was already crowded with people. All the people were waiting for the results of the written examination to come out. Because the 5 preliminary written examinations had already ended, all the people began to talk about the questions. When the others heard that the 5th round was to memorize nearly 5,000 pages of spiritual grasses in 3 hours, and even without the use of spiritual sense, they immediately became speechless. Then someone said that the previous few rounds were also to memorize around 4,000 pages of spiritual grasses. Those who did not participate in the preliminary round did not even have the slightest bit of hope. This kind of examination definitely did not have any chance. Big Brother Yi Yang this time is definitely the first. I guess that after the score of 94 points came out, the teachers who marked the paper would not dare to believe it. Not far from Ning Cheng, a young girl wearing a pink robe covered her mouth with her hand, and spoke with a chuckle. "Do you still need to say it? You can see that the 3rd place only has 76 points, the difference between him and senior apprentice Brother Lang is too far." Someone next to the young girl immediately echoed. A man wearing a white robe quickly humbly cupped his hands and said, "The results of the 5th round have not yet come out, it is still too early to say that I am the first. Big Brother Yi Yang, you are 100% the first. I guess that the only person with a pure spiritual root who is willing to participate in the preliminary written examination, is Big Brother Yi Yang." This young girl did not agree with the modesty of the white-robed man. Of course, this is what strength is. If it was someone else with a pure spiritual root, it would be absolutely impossible for them to participate in the preliminary round. What is the purpose of the competition? Isn't it just to be selected by a 5-star academy? Senior apprentice Brother Lang has a pure wood spiritual root, any of the 5-star academies would definitely fight for him. I heard that the representative of the Thunder 5-star Academy, Ling Naixin, also has a pure spiritual root. She is already a core disciple of the Thunder Academy, but she is also the same as senior apprentice Brother Lang, and must sign up for the preliminary written examination. A gray-robed youth spoke out, and also refuted the young girl in the pink robe. Ling Naixin. Isn't that the one who scored 85 points in the 3rd round of the written examination? Someone asked in amazement. Apparently they did not think that the 2 people who scored high points would both have pure spiritual roots. Even if that Ling Naixin has a pure spiritual root, she only scored 85 points, so she would only be ranked 2nd, and Big Brother Yi Yang would also be ranked 1st. The red-robed girl still strongly supported her big brother Yi Yang. More and more people started to join in the discussion. The white-robed man cupped his fists in front of everyone in a modest manner, but his proud and complacent eyes made it clear that he would be ranked 1st. Ning Cheng also understood, this person should be Lang Yi Yang, who scored 94 points in the preliminary written examination. He remembered that Shui Yu who had flown down from the restaurant. At that time he was also wearing a white robe, and could not help but mutter, "Sure enough, if you want to show off, then wear white robes." "Ah. What do you mean show off wearing white robes?" Ji Luofei had just asked, when she heard someone speak out in a loud voice. the fifth array formation screen is lit up, the results of the fifth written examination are about to come out. Chapter 94. Ning Cheng saw that Ji Luofei was still looking at him, and said, "I say, that white-robed guy, he only scored 94 points and wants to take the first place, he is simply dreaming." Ji Luofei asked in doubt, "But 94 points is indeed very high. I saw that the second place only scored 85 points, and the third and fourth place both scored 70 points. Speaking till here, Ji Luofei seemed to understand the meaning of Ning Cheng's words, and quickly asked, "You mean to say that in the fifth written test, someone scored even higher than 94 points? But I just heard people say that the fifth written test is even more difficult than the previous four. How can someone score more than 94 points? If there really is such a person, then wouldn't it be too heaven-defying?" Ji Luofei, who was standing at the side, could hear it very clearly. Nearly 5,000 pages of content were memorized in just 3 hours, moreover without using spiritual sense. Was this something that an ordinary person could achieve? Ning Cheng was somewhat embarrassed as he touched his hair and said, "It is not really heaven-defying, but that person is me. It seems that the next time I will also have to get a set of white robes to wear, and then..." Then, Ning Cheng suddenly copied Leng Yiyang's actions, and cupped his hands towards Ji Luofei and said, "The results of the fifth written test have not come out yet, I cannot say that I will definitely take the first place." Ning Cheng suddenly felt that Leng Yiyang's act was understandable. He was able to act in front of Ji Luofei, and was somewhat proud of himself. Thinking that Leng Yiyang was able to act in front of so many people, he must be even more proud of himself. Ji Luofei almost laughed out loud, because of Ning Cheng's joke. Her unpleasant thoughts of returning to the Moze city had already disappeared without a trace. "Sister Luofei, what about your test?" Zhu Mu'er did not know where she came from, but when she saw Ning Cheng, she immediately knew that the woman beside Ning Cheng was Ji Luofei. Ji Luofei, seeing Zhu Mu'er, quickly said, "The fifth test was not me, it was Xiao Cheng." "Oh, this is too bad, there is no hope, I also did not do well in the test. If I had known earlier, I would have read more of my father's medicine books, I would not have regretted it now," Zhu Mu'er said in annoyance. Saying that, she turned to Ning Xiaocheng and said, "Ning Xiaocheng, when you meet sect head Yin, just say that you made some mistakes, lest he thinks that he wasted 2 places. Just now, he was muttering in front of me for a long time, and I finally got rid of him." Ji Luofei unexpectedly spoke up in a good mood. "Elder sister Mu'er, Xiaocheng said that he took the first place in the fifth written exam, you don't have to be too disappointed." Perhaps it was because Ji Luofei rarely told jokes, but when Zhu Mu'er heard Ji Luofei's joke, she unexpectedly froze for a moment. After a long time, she pointed at Ning Cheng and laughed. "You said that Ning Xiaocheng was the first in the fifth written exam, haha, this is just too funny." Zhu Mu'er was so pleased with herself that she forgot herself. When she came back to her senses, there were already countless eyes staring at her. How shameless! Senior brother Yi Yang is here, and there are still people who dare to say they are number one. I'm just praising myself. There are many people like that. Senior apprentice brother Lang, that person is really shameless, he even dared to say that he was the first in the preliminary round. At the side of Leng Yiyang, there were already some people who were not happy with Ning Cheng's words. "I think he said first place in the fifth match." Leng Yiyang waved his hand, and said with a dull expression, "This kind of people are everywhere, there is no need to care about it. The more you care about it, the more he thinks that he is great. If he knew that he was a clown, he would not have said such words." "Is that so? Maybe he really is the first." A different voice sounded out from the surrounding people. Leng Yiyang's complexion changed, and then he saw a cultivator wearing a white robe like him, but his cultivation was higher than his own, at least he could not see it. "This friend, I am just here to discuss with my friends." Leng Yiyang's words had not yet finished, when he was once again interrupted by this person. "You and your friends are not talking about me, but I am here to talk, isn't that right? You did not talk about me, but you are just a bit more than junior apprentice Sister Naishin, there is nothing to be proud of. The semi-finals are not over yet, don't you feel ashamed to say something else at this time? Originally he was here to help Ling Naishin fight against the injustice. Lang Yi Yang's mouth twitched a few times, although he did not speak, but his eyes showed that even if he fought against the injustice, his score was still higher than Ling Naishin's. Not far away, a young girl wearing a purple robe was looking at the lively scene, and was somewhat speechless as she shook her head. A young girl beside her spoke with disdain. This Lang Yi Yang only scored a few points higher in the first round of the written exam, the semi-finals have not even started, and he is already showing off here, isn't it a bit too early? The purple-robed young girl smiled and said, compared to the person who said that he would be the first in the 5th round, Lang Yi Yang is quite low-key. That's also true, now there are all kinds of people, and all kinds of people with thick skin exist. The young girl next to her nodded in agreement. I'm sorry, Ning Xiaocheng, it seems that I have brought some trouble to you. Zhu Mu'er knew that her voice a moment ago was really too loud. Ning Cheng waved his hand and said, what you said a moment ago was not wrong, I really am the first. The results would soon come out, Ning Cheng felt that there was no need for him to hide it. What? Zhu Mu'er almost thought that Ning Cheng was confused by her words. Compared to the upcoming trouble, the trouble that you brought is simply not a problem at all. As Ning Cheng finished, his expression was calm as he stared at Lan Yinyu who was walking towards him. A moment ago the commotion here was too big, many people were looking in this direction, since Lan Yinyu was here looking at the list, it was not surprising for her to see him. You not only live a long life, but also have more methods than I thought, you can even come to the Hua continent, I really underestimated you. Lan Yinyu's tone was incomparably cold, if this place was not the Moze Grand Plaza, she would have already started on Ning Cheng. But even if she did not start now, since she had found Ning Cheng, then he would not be able to escape from her hands, this time she would personally make a move on him. The list for the 5th round of the written exam is out. A sudden voice interrupted the confrontation between Ning Cheng and Lan Yinyu. All the people's gazes were focused on the 5th huge array formation projection screen, as a row of names appeared on the screen. First place Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng, 100 points. Someone had already read out the name of the first place, each of the 5 rounds of the written exam had a first place. So the people might pay attention to the first place, but they would absolutely not pay attention to the rest of the names. But now that Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng's name was read out, it immediately attracted everyone's attention, no one was in the mood to pay attention to who was in the second place. What attracted everyone's attention was not Ning Xiaocheng's name, but rather the 100 points behind it. This was an unprecedented high score, and was also the first person to score 100 points, in the previous 4 rounds no one had ever scored more than 100 points. Ah! Before all the people could start talking, a high decibel scream sounded out, Ning Xiaocheng, are you really the first? Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng, that's right, it is you, the first, you are the first. Zhu Mu'er's emotions were completely out of control, she had thought that Ji Luofei and Ning Cheng were just joking, but now she knew that it was not just a joke, it was even more real than real gold. It was not until this time that the surrounding crowd broke out into a variety of noises and discussions. Zhu Mu'er's scream unexpectedly did not seem to be out of place in the crowd. The first place is Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng, how come I have never heard of this Huayu Academy? It should be a small academy, the 3rd-ranked Gong Junming from before represented a 2-star academy. This Ning Xiaocheng probably represents a low-level academy to participate in the tournament. That Gong Jun only scored 76 points, how can he be compared with Ning Xiaocheng? Ning Xiaocheng scored 100 points, this is the first place in the 5 rounds. Who was the one who said that the first place would definitely be Lang Yi Yang? Now you have been slapped in the face. That's right, a moment ago I was kind enough to hear that Ning Xiaocheng was here, who is this Ning Xiaocheng? Ji Luofei stared blankly at the 5th big screen with the name on it, and did not react for a long time. The difficulty of the written exam was something that even she felt her scalp tingle, but Ning Qing actually scored 100 points, it was simply too outrageous. It turned out that what he had said to her was true, not even half a word was false, and she was even joking with him because of Ning Qing. At this time the sixth huge projection screen showed the first place. Impressively it was Huayu Academy's disciple Ning Xiaoqing who scored 100 points. Someone looked at the sixth huge projection screen and said, "First place Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaoqing, 100 points. Second place Luo Ho Academy's Ling Yi Yang, 94 points. Third place Thunder Academy's Ling Naixin, 85 points. Fourth place Clear Sky Academy's Gong Jun, 76 points. Fifth place Falling Star Academy's Yuan Liang, 74 points. Sixth place Thunder Academy's Shimen Gao, 71 points. Seventh place God Wind Academy's Meng Jing Xiu, 71 points. Hey, how come in the top 7, the God Wind Academy only has a 7th place? Hearing the other people reading the rankings, some people felt that the God Wind Academy's ranking was a bit too bad. As for the top 7 being the participants from the 5-star academies, no one felt that it was strange. That Ning Xiaoqing who took the first place, would soon become a disciple of a 5-star academy. Are you Ning Xiaoqing? Lan Yinyu frowned as she stared at Ning Qing in front of her. She suddenly had a bad feeling in her heart. If Ning Xiaoqing was the first place, then she absolutely would not be able to kill Ning Xiaoqing. It would not take long, Ning Xiaoqing would definitely be snatched away by the 5-star academies. A student from a 5-star academy, she was just a true condensation cultivator from the Ping continent, she would not dare to deal with him. At this moment, she even regretted killing Ning Qing. Chapter 95. Where is Huayu sect? Who is in charge of Huayu sect? When the results of the 5th round of the written exam came out, Huayu sect became the hottest topic. In the entire Missouri's A Grand Square, everyone was asking where the Huayu sect was. Those who inquired about the Huayu faction, in addition to some sects who wanted to befriend them, or some cultivators who wanted to join the Huayu faction, were the 5 major 5-star sects. If the 5-star academies wanted to find Ning Xiaoqing, who had obtained the first place in the written exam, then they would have to find the Huayu Academy. Ning Qing looked at Lan Yinyu whose face was constantly changing, and spoke in a cold voice, "Fuck off, we will slowly settle our accounts later." Lan Yinyu's complexion abruptly changed. The ant in her eyes actually dared to tell her to scram. But when she thought that Ning Qing was about to become a disciple of a 5-star academy, she couldn't help but shiver. Her position in the Falling Star Academy came from the few students with pure spiritual roots that she had brought to the Falling Star Academy, and not because she herself had any relationship with the Falling Star Academy. If Ning Qing, as a student of a 5-star academy, wanted to hold her accountable, then even the Falling Star Academy would not be able to protect her. Moreover, an Yi was Ning Qing's cousin. Once she knew the truth of the matter, what would an Yi do? Lan Yinyu did not dare to continue to think about it. "Yinyu, you are here, accompany me to the Huayu Academy's encampment. This time the Huayu Academy has sent out a student named Ning Xiaoqing, our Falling Star Academy." A man with the cultivation of late-stage essence building realm came over, wearing the emblem of the Falling Star Academy. "What happened to you?" He had not even finished speaking, when this essence-building cultivator saw that something was wrong with Lan Yinyu, and immediately reached out to grab Lan Yinyu's wrist. Lan Yinyu waved her hand, "Senior apprentice brother He Hong, please conduct yourself with dignity." This essence-building cultivator called He Hong was rejected by Lan Yinyu, but he was not angry, rather he stared at Ning Qing who was opposite of Lan Yinyu and spoke in a cold voice, "Did you make junior apprentice sister Yinyu angry a moment ago? Immediately kowtow and apologize to junior sister Xiang Yinyu. If not for the Moze Grand Plaza strictly forbidding fighting, He Hong would have already taken the initiative to capture Ning Qing." Ning Qing spoke with disdain, "Looking for someone to go on a date was rejected, and now you want to take advantage of this father's body? Your dog eyes must be blind." Before, Ning Qing did not dare to cause a ruckus at the entrance of the Falling Star Academy, because he was too clear about his own identity. Once he caused a ruckus, then he would be captured and killed. It would be like a soap bubble popping, there would not be even half a ripple. But now, it was different. He was the first in the preliminary list. No one dared to casually blow him away like he was a soap bubble. Courting death. Even if He Hong could endure it, he could not stand a mere low-leveled cultivator ridiculing and scolding him, as he raised his hand to grab Ning Cheng. Even if he wanted to condemn him for starting a fight in the Grand Plaza, he also had an excuse. The opposite party was just a low-leveled cultivator who dared to curse him, an essence-building senior. Ning Cheng, on seeing He Hong make his move, did not have even half a shred of hesitation. The spear behind his back was already in his hands. He must make this He Hong look good, wait until he crippled He Hong's hand with this spear. He believed that after this shot, the person in charge would also come. At that time, he would report his name, and he would definitely not suffer too much. Stop. A powerful aura surged over. He Hong's complexion immediately changed, as he abruptly stopped his palm that was about to explode towards Ning Cheng. He Hong did not continue to make his move. Ning Cheng also would not take the initiative to use his spear. If He Hong had already stopped, and he still wanted to take the initiative to provoke him, then even if he was in the right, he would not be in the right. Even if he did not make a move, he still needed to have absolute strength. As long as you have the strength, then even if you made the first move, other people would not ask you for the reason. Even if you said that the other party was not pleasing to the eye, no one would say that the reason was wrong. Even if other people would echo and say that, that's right, this guy did not look pleasing to the eye. Unfortunately, he currently did not have that kind of strength. Falling Star Academy's He Hong greets Deacon Jia. He Hong quickly cupped his hands in greeting. He knew that in front of this Deacon Jia, he was simply not worth anything. This Deacon Jia was called Jia Han, and was one of the deacons of the Moza City's Grand Plaza. With the cultivation of profound congealing 6th level, he simply could not be compared to him. You are an essence-building cultivator from the Falling Star Academy. Don't you know that fighting is not allowed in the Moza Grand Plaza? Although this Jia Han was questioning He Hong, but his tone had already softened, apparently because He Hong was a person from the Falling Star Academy. But Ning Cheng was simply an insignificant cultivator with the cultivation of true condensation 1st level. Jia Han finished, and coldly stared at Ning Cheng. And you even dare to take out an artifact in the Moza Grand Plaza, you really have a lot of courage. Ning Cheng calmly put the spear on his back again, and cupped his fists towards Jia Han and said, Huayu Academy's Ning Shaoqing greets Deacon Jia. Because this person wanted to attack me for no reason at all, I pulled out the spear in order to defend myself. Huayu Academy's Ning Shaoqing did not use this name. Ning Cheng was not that stupid. Are you Ning Shaoqing? The Huayu Academy's Ning Shaoqing who obtained the 1st place in the 5th written exam? Jia Han was also moved as he asked. Of course, he is Ning Shaoqing. He is one of the 2 people from the Huayu Academy who participated in the 5th written exam. The other one is me. Zhu Mu'er finally calmed down. When she spoke she was no longer startled. At least she knew that she had to bring herself out. Ning Cheng very respectfully said, Yes, this junior is Huayu Academy's Ning Shaoqing. Are you Ning Shaoqing? He Hong was also shocked. He did not think that his luck would be so bad. He just wanted to act cool in front of the person he liked, and casually found the guy who obtained the 1st place in the written exam. Now he was not afraid of Ning Shaoqing, but when Ning Shaoqing entered a 5-star academy, then he would definitely ask him why he picked a fight with him for no reason at all. Leng Yiyang, who was not far away, was also shocked. He did not think that the person who said that he was the first would really be the first. Not only was he the first, but he also obtained the 1st place with a 100% score. He thought of the words that he had said before, and in his heart he could not wait to immediately pinch this Ning Shaoqing who had made him lose face. Now he only hoped that no one would remember what he had said not long ago. But things did not go as he wished. The white-robed cultivator who had helped Ling Naixin before stared at him and said in a sarcastic tone, not long ago there were people who ridiculed the person who obtained the first place and thought that he was great, and was just a clown. He really thought that he was great, he really is a clown, haha. When this white-robed cultivator spoke, he stared at Lang Yi-yang, until Lang Yi-yang's face turned into the color of a pig's liver, only then did he laugh, and turned away. While walking away, he also mimicked the words that Lang Yi-yang had said before. The results of the 5th round have not yet come out, it is still too early to say that he is the first. It really is too early, at least he has some self-awareness. Naixin, this Ning Xiaoqing really is the first The girl who had previously disdained Lang Yi-yang with a 94% score exclaimed. The face of the purple-robed girl called Naixin also turned slightly red and said, I was wrong a moment ago, I thought that that person had a thick face. I did not think that he really had this kind of ability. Compared to the dispute in Ningcheng, the Moze Grand Plaza was overcrowded with people from the Huayu Academy. If not for waiting for Zhu Mu'er to say a few words, the Huayu Academy's sect head Yin Bo would have already left. But when Zhu Mu'er came out, she just casually said a few words to him, and then hurriedly ran away. Yin Bo, who was depressed, came to know that the Huayu Academy had sent out the first place, but he had never heard of this Ning Xiaoqing. But after carefully thinking about it, he remembered that this Ning Xiaoqing was the one who had asked Zhu Mu'er for the second place. He actually got the first place. When Yin Bo saw that Ning Xiaoqing was indeed the first place, he was ecstatic in his heart. The Huayu Academy had obtained the first place, he did not need to look for Zhu Mu'er's father to refine pills, he definitely had the essence-building pills. Not only that, there were even more rewards, the Huayu Academy could even be promoted to a 3-star academy. But he had only met Ning Xiaoqing once, and was not familiar with him. Just when Yin Bo wanted to look for Ning Xiaoqing, he found that his station was already surrounded. Some of the people who knew Yin Bo came to congratulate him, but most of them came to ask if the Huayu Academy was still recruiting disciples. Yin Bo only brought 2 disciples to the Moze Grand Plaza, 3 people were simply not enough to entertain them. It was not until the people from the 5-star academies arrived that the order of the Huayu Academy was restored. Sect Head Yin, I am Ma Ji from the Clear Sky Academy. The atmosphere of the Huayu Academy is really different, the Falling Star Academy's Chi Kong specially came to congratulate Sect Head Yin. Although the people from the 5-star academies were very polite, Yin Bo did not dare to neglect them for even half a moment, and hurriedly greeted them one by one, and after a long time, the representatives of the 5-star academies finally settled down. Sect Head Yin, I do not know if your academy's Ning Xiaoqing who obtained the first place is here. My Luohua 5-star academy is most eager to recruit a genius like Ning Xiaoqing. Lang Yi-yang who was ranked 2nd in the preliminary round is a good example. I believe that the Huayu Academy would also be able to rise to the next level because of Ning Xiaoqing. The representative of the Luohua Academy could not help but speak out. Deacon Qi, isn't it a bit inappropriate to say these words now? We just came here to sit down. Which academy Ning Xiaoqing will choose, it will be decided in the selection meeting of the 5-star academies, it will be up to him to decide. The representative of the God Wind Academy immediately said in a dissatisfied manner. The God Wind Academy was not among the top few in the preliminary round, no matter from what perspective, it was disadvantageous to the God Wind Academy. In the view of all the representatives from the 5-star academies, Ning Xiaoqing who was able to obtain 100 points in the preliminary round, was definitely a genius. Generally speaking, geniuses with spiritual roots were not bad, it could be seen from the memory test, the higher the spiritual root, the higher the score. The higher the comprehension and the ability to react, the higher the score. Whether it was the spiritual root or the comprehension, these were the basic conditions for cultivation. The Clear Sky Academy had made an exception for the examinee Gong Jun, who was admitted to the Clear Sky Academy. Gong Jun had scored 76 points, the result of the spiritual root test showed that he had a dual spiritual root, moreover his main spiritual root was already white in color. Even if these were not counted, whichever academy recruited the cultivator who obtained the first place in the preliminary round, the reputation of that academy would greatly rise, which would greatly benefit the upcoming competition for the 6-star academies. Moreover, these reasons were not the most important. The most important reason was that in the Hua Continent selection meeting for the 6-star academies, there would be a written memory test. A person with the best memory test, whichever 5-star academy he entered, that 5-star academy would have a certain advantage in the competition for the 6-star academies. Chapter 96. For Lan Yu, the ant in her eyes told her to get lost. It was really difficult for her to accept. If it was another place, she would have already slapped Ning Qing to death. Unfortunately, she had to get lost. She really could not figure out how Ning Qing, a qi-gathering cultivator, could come to the Hua Continent, and how he was able to score 100 points in the 5th written exam. Lan Yu, who had been looking forward to the tournament of the 5-star academies, was not in the mood to do so. She knew that Ning Qing's spiritual root was very poor, but the tournament of the 5-star academies was not only about fighting, but also about other things. Among them, the written exam was one of the most important events in the tournament. Ning Qing's written exam results were very strong. The 5-star academies would definitely rush to recruit him, even if Ning Qing's spiritual root was trash. Lan Yu walked away. He Hong could only dejectedly leave. Fortunately, Jia Han took into consideration the face of the Falling Star Academy, and did not do anything to He Hong. Ning Qing also knew that he could not do anything to He Hong. He Hong was an essence-building cultivator from the Falling Star Academy. Unless his strength was a lot stronger than He Hong, he could take the opportunity to teach the opposite party a lesson. Letting an outsider take action was simply not realistic. Jia Han smiled at Ning Qing and said, "Young man, you are good. To be able to get the first place in the preliminary round, you have a promising future." In accordance with the Hua Continent's unified enrollment of the 5-star academies, after the preliminary round, the top 10 will be able to join the 5-star academies, and then proceed to the semifinals. I wish you good luck. After saying that, Jia Han's figure flashed and disappeared. Zhu Mu'er waited for Jia Han to leave, and immediately said with excitement, "Ning Xiaocheng, even Deacon Jia Han congratulates you. Deacon Jia is a profound congealing master, and will definitely look after you in the future." Ning Qing knew that Zhu Mu'er was dreaming. Jia Han had only said a sentence to wish him good luck, but had never said anything about looking for him in the future. His first place in the preliminary round was not worth it for Jia Han to befriend him. A moment ago Jia Han had said a sentence to wish him good luck, but it was just a casual remark. If he took it seriously, then he would be a fool. Zhu Mu'er suddenly said, "Ning Xiaocheng, among the top 10 in the preliminary round, you seem to be the only one who has not joined a 5-star academy. The other 9 people are already the disciples of a 5-star academy." Ning Qing then took note of the first 10 names on the 6th big screen. It really was his origin. The other 9 were indeed the disciples of a 5-star academy. At this time, the sound tablet in the Missouri Zay Grand Square suddenly sounded out. The preliminary round is now completely over. The 5 preliminary written exams have determined 1,000 outstanding disciples. The finals will be held in 10 days. In accordance with the rules before the competition, the top 10 in the preliminary round can choose to join a 5-star academy. Because the cultivators from the 2nd to 10th place in the preliminary round had already joined the major 5-star academies, only Huayu Academy's Ning Xiaocheng had not yet chosen a 5-star academy. Now I would like to invite the Huayu Academy's head Yin Bo and the Huayu Academy's disciple Ning Xiaocheng to come to the main altar in the middle of the square, and choose a 5-star academy to join. The main altar has been established. Ning Xiaocheng, you have to hurry up. For Ning Qing to choose a 5-star academy, Zhu Mu'er was even more anxious than Ning Xiaocheng. Even after saying that, Zhu Mu'er still did not feel relieved, and once again whispered in Ning Qing's ear, "Remember to ask for more benefits. You are the first in the written exam. Even if your spiritual route is worse, the 5-star academies would definitely fight for you." 2 years later in the tournament of the 5-star academies, the first round would be the written exam. Now that those 5-star academies want you, it is because they want to compete for the 6-star academy in 2 years. Originally Ning Cheng was still a bit nervous, but after listening to Zhu Muer's words, he immediately understood. He was still worried about the problem of his poor spiritual root. If his spiritual root was poor, then even if he was the first in the written exam, he estimated that he would not necessarily be valued by the other people. He did not expect that the 5-star academies would choose their disciples based on their memory. It was because they wanted to compete for the 6-star academy in 2 years. Since that was the case, what else was he worried about? Ning Cheng saw that the main altar in the middle of the square was already filled with people. The main altar was divided into 5 sections, each section had a sign of a 5-star academy on it. Ning Cheng walked towards Ji Luofei, and grabbed Ji Luofei's hand. Ji Luofei's face turned red, and wanted to urge Ning Cheng to hurry up. But she heard Ning Cheng whisper in her ear, "Help me put this away, and give it back to me later." After greeting Ji Luofei, he stuffed a storage bag into Ji Luofei's hands, and then quickly walked towards the main altar in the middle of the square. This storage bag was filled with things that Ning Cheng felt were more precious, including the imperial jade seal, the 5 elements treasure fall copper coin, the soul wood and so on. He had to go to the main altar to face the experts who were several times stronger than him. In case he ended up being inspected, these things would not be safe on his body. As for the mysterious yellow bead, Ning Cheng had no other way. It was impossible for him to take out the mysterious yellow bead. Fortunately, he had obtained a part of the mysterious yellow origin, and the mysterious yellow bead was one with him. Plus he was now the first, and was not going to be inspected. As such the mysterious yellow bead should be safe and sound. Ning Cheng had not even reached the main altar, when Yin Bo excitedly greeted him. While rubbing his hands, he spoke in a low voice, "Elder brother Ning, I really did not expect that you would help my Hua Yu Academy to get the first place. I really." Ning Cheng understood Yin Bo's excitement. He patted Yin Bo's hand and said, "Now I am still a disciple of the Hua Yu Academy, while you are the academy head of the Hua Yu Academy. Try to maintain a bit of the demeanor of the academy head. Since I took the quota for the Hua Yu Academy, then the Hua Yu Academy should get some rewards." Some of the people with high cultivations on the main altar obviously heard Ning Cheng's words, but everyone did not care about it. After all, the disciples were selected in this way. If all the people were selected through the 5-star academies, and then took the written test, then the 5-star academies would not have so much energy. What's more, the other academies also needed to recruit some disciples. For the Hua Yu Academy to be able to select Ning Xiaocheng, it showed that the Hua Yu Academy had a good vision. As such they deserved the rewards. Seeing Ning Cheng and the Hua Yu Academy's academy head Yin Bo walk up to the main altar, the crowd of onlookers around the public square suddenly issued out a variety of annoyed voices. "Ning Xiaocheng was originally him, I know. He came to our Golden Feather Academy to ask for a quota, but we did not give it to him. If I had known earlier, then I would have given it to him, alas. I also know, he also went to our Jade Cauldron Academy station. Our Colored Light Academy's Ning Xiaocheng also went there. What a pity." Unfortunately, there were a lot of voices, because Ning Cheng, in order to find a quota for the preliminary round, had to go to a lot of places. But he was rejected without exception. When the people heard that he had a multi-line hybrid spiritual root, they simply did not give him a chance. How can Ning Cheng come here? Ji Yao he also saw Ning Cheng, and was immediately shocked. Then she understood that Ning Cheng was that Ning Xiaocheng who had obtained the first place. After understanding that Ning Cheng was Ning Xiaocheng, Ji Yao he's heart was filled with a storm. She was not shocked because Ning Cheng had obtained the first place in the written test, but because Ning Cheng already had the cultivation of true condensation first level. When she had first seen Ning Cheng only had a rubbish 4-line hybrid spiritual root. With this kind of qualification, how could he advance to the true condensation first level so quickly? There was definitely a problem. Ji Yao he and Lan Yin Yu were different. Lan Yin Yu still had the cultivation of true condensation realm. Even if Ning Cheng did not conceal his cultivation level, she could only vaguely feel Ning Cheng's cultivation level. She had a preconceived notion, and absolutely did not believe that Ning Cheng was a cultivator in the true condensation realm, so she simply did not care about it. Ji Yao, he was a cultivator in the essence building realm, and since Ning Cheng did not conceal his cultivation level, she could see that Ning Cheng had the cultivation level of true condensation first level. After understanding that Ning Cheng had the cultivation level of true condensation first level, Ji Yao He's heart suddenly started to beat wildly. Ning Cheng absolutely had a huge opportunity, otherwise it would be impossible for him to advance to the true condensation first level so quickly. At this moment, she almost focused all of her attention on Ning Cheng. She wanted to know how Ning Cheng would explain his cultivation progress. Ning Cheng walked up to the large main altar, and cupped his fists as he turned around and said, "Ning Shao Cheng greets the seniors." He did not know any of the people on the altar, but he knew that the people on the altar were not simple characters, they were all incomparably powerful existences. He estimated that the worst of them were essence-building cultivators. Ning Cheng had just finished greeting them, when he felt countless spiritual consciousness sweep over him. This made Ning Cheng secretly startled. Fortunately he had already taken away the things in the storage bag, otherwise, the things in the storage bag would not have been exposed. He really did not know for sure. Not bad, compared to those geniuses with pure spiritual roots, they are not the least bit worse. An old man sitting under the sign of the Clear Sky Academy commented with a smile, and then spoke to Ning Cheng in a pleasant manner, "You can sit down first. I am a Tier 4 Talisman Grand Master from the Clear Sky Academy, Ming Hao Kuo. Your performance on the stage was very calm, moreover your memory is also very strong. No matter what kind of spiritual root you have, the door of my Clear Sky Academy is always open for you." What is the use of talismans? Ning Shao Cheng's memory of spiritual grasses is very clear. Only by joining my Luo Ho Academy would you be able to display your full potential. Ning Shao Cheng, I am Ching Xian from the Luo Ho Academy. I can let you become a disciple of a pill master from my Luo Ho Academy. Not waiting for Ming Hao Kuo from the Clear Sky Academy to finish speaking, a middle-aged cultivator from the Luo Ho Academy interrupted Ming Hao Kuo's words. Then the people from the Falling Star Academy, the God Wind Academy and the Thunder Academy began to talk about the benefits of joining their respective academies to Ning Cheng, and even promised Ning Cheng a variety of things. Ning Cheng was very clear in his heart, that these old guys would burn the bridge after crossing the river. Do not look at how polite they were to him, a true condensation first-level cultivator. It was absolutely not because his qualifications were good. Moreover, even if he had the qualifications of a pure spiritual root, he estimated that it would still be impossible for so many people to snatch him. The reason for this, was to cope with the upcoming competition for the 6-star academies. As long as they could get him, it would mean that they would be able to get a lot of points in the written exam. At this moment in the eyes of others, he was just a score. What they were trying to snatch was not Ning Cheng, but to compete for the score of the 6-star academy assessment. Once the 6-star academy was selected, then where would Ning Cheng go? These old guys would absolutely not even look at him in the eye. Understanding this point, Ning Cheng's performance was even more calm. He once again cupped his fists and respectfully said, "Thank you seniors for your love for this junior." This junior had originally intended to go to the Clear Sky 5-star Academy. Yes, coming to our Clear Sky 5-star Academy is the right choice. You will absolutely not regret it. When Ming Hao Kuo heard Ning Cheng's words, he immediately stood up with a smile on his face. He had already planned to welcome Ning Cheng to join them. Ning Cheng deliberately sighed and said, "In order to enter the Clear Sky 5-star Academy, I deliberately looked for a Clear Sky Command Medallion, but when I went to register, the Clear Sky Command Medallion was confiscated by the Clear Sky Academy. Moreover, they even taught me a lesson. Fortunately I was very tactful, and quickly did not want the Clear Sky Command Medallion, and thus escaped a calamity." What? Which bastard actually dared to not take away the Clear Sky Command Medallion, and even drove away the first place in the preliminary round? Your father, will peel off his skin. Ming Hao Kuo almost jumped up 3 feet high. This was too much. Ning Cheng sneered in his heart, "What you owe this father, I will slowly pay you back with interest, so that you will not lose your grandfather's Clear Sky Command medallion. Chapter 97. In just a little while, the middle-aged man who did not drop the Clear Sky Command medallion was brought to the altar in the public square. At this time his face was pale, and his whole body was trembling. He did not have the awe-inspiring aura that he had when he dropped the Clear Sky Command medallion. If he had known that Ning Cheng would obtain the first place in the written examination, even if his cultivation was abolished, he would not have dared to do such a thing. Hey, Symbol Master Ming, the Clear Sky Academy is a mixture of good and bad, with such a person existing, in the end, alas. A woman from the Thunder Academy deliberately sighed. It was obvious that she wanted to hit him while he was down. Her meaning was that the Clear Sky Academy having such a person existing, was really not a good choice. Ming Haoqua's face was livid as he stared at the man with the cultivation of Qi gathering 9th level and said, "First hand over the Clear Sky Command medallion, for my Clear Sky Academy to have such a scum like you, it is really a disgrace." This middle-aged man with the cultivation of Qi gathering realm had just handed over the Clear Sky Command medallion while trembling. He did not even have the time to defend himself, when he was slapped by Ming Haoqua and turned into minced meat. After killing this Qi gathering cultivator, the anger on Ming Haoqua's face instantly disappeared, as if nothing had happened. He smiled as he once again returned the Clear Sky Command medallion to Ning Cheng and said, "It is inevitable that there are some vermin in the academy. Fortunately this person was an outer sect disciple. The inner sect disciples of my Clear Sky Academy are definitely the cream of the crop. In fact, you could have found him at that time. If he had dared to drop your Clear Sky Command medallion, you could have directly told me any of the deacons of the Clear Sky Academy. They would have been able to solve the problem." Ning Cheng was not polite. This Clear Sky Command medallion was originally his. After thanking him, he took the Clear Sky Command medallion and sighed and said, "Alas, I was trying to explain at that time, but at that time an Essence Building senior came to the Clear Sky Academy. He seemed to be called Marshal Uncle Jing. He simply did not want to listen to any of my words, and directly told me to get lost. He said that this was a 5-star academy, and that I was not allowed to be long-winded. When I left, my heart was still very sad. The Clear Sky Academy was the place where I dreamed of going, but after this matter, my dream was shattered." After listening to Ning Cheng's words, Ming Haoqua's complexion was not as simple as it seemed. He had never thought that the Clear Sky Academy would take the initiative to kick him out of the evaluation of a 6-star academy. At this time, he did not have the face to continue to invite Ning Cheng to join the Clear Sky Academy, and directly said to Ning Cheng, "Ning Xiao Cheng, I will go and look for that bastard. If you want to join my Clear Sky Academy, then you can come at any time, but you absolutely do not need the Clear Sky Command medallion." After Ming Haoqua left, only the other 4 academies were left to compete for Peace City. "Ning Xiao Cheng, this time my Falling Star Academy has the most cultivators with pure spiritual roots. Why don't you join my Falling Star Academy?" A thin and weak-looking man with the cultivation of profound congealing realm from the Falling Star Academy spoke to Ning Cheng and Yen. The tone of his voice was just like that of a big bad wolf seeing a little white rabbit. Ning Cheng quickly cupped his fists and replied, "In fact, before I was ready to join the Clear Sky Academy, I was planning to join the Falling Star Academy. I have a cousin with a pure spiritual root who has already joined the Falling Star Academy. I think that if my cousin and I go to the same academy, it would be for the best." "Your cousin is in the Falling Star Academy, and also has a pure spiritual root? Then why are you still hesitating? You should also join my Falling Star 5-star Academy." This man with the cultivation of profound congealing realm had an excited expression on his face. What he saw was not Ning Cheng, but a pile of points. Ning Cheng once again sighed, "My qualifications are not as good as my cousin, so I was rejected by senior apprentice Sister Lan Yinyu from the Clear Heart Academy. I did not care about it. As long as my cousin joined the Falling Star Academy it would be fine. But what I did not think was that senior apprentice Sister Lan Yinyu would use the excuse that I would delay my cousin's cultivation, and chased me everywhere to kill me. I had nowhere to escape, and could only escape into the Dawn Forest. Fortunately, I happened to come across a spiritual essence spring pond in the Dawn Forest. I cultivated in that spiritual essence spring pond for nearly a year, and unexpectedly cultivated to the Qi gathering 9th level. Afterwards in the Yuan continent, I was able to obtain a true condensation pill from Pill Master Mulberry. I did not think that I would be lucky enough to succeed in the true condensation realm. Alas, if not for this matter, me and my cousin would both be in the Falling Star Academy, but now, I do not have such thoughts. Ning Qing said these words. In addition to digging a pit for Lan Yinyu, he also wanted to explain that his spiritual root qualifications were poor, and that his cultivation was so fast. He did not want to wait for others to ask and then explain. This man with the cultivation of profound congealing realm, after listening to Ning Cheng's words, also flew into a rage. A true condensation cultivator from the Clear Heart Academy, even dared to obstruct the Falling Star Academy from recruiting the first place in the preliminary round. He did not care that Ning Cheng was not the first place at that time, as long as the consequences of this matter were caused by Lan Yinyu, he would definitely teach Lan Yinyu a lesson. Seeing the Clear Sky Academy and the Falling Star Academy simultaneously being rejected by Ning Cheng, an old man from the God Wind Academy who had long wanted to speak stood up and said, "Ning Xiao Cheng, I think that the God Wind Academy is the most suitable place for you. My God Wind Academy can not only give you a separate immortal cave, but also let you enjoy the treatment of a core disciple. If your spiritual root is deficient, you can also come and go freely." The old man from the God Wind Academy said with great enthusiasm. Ning Cheng was moved in his heart. He understood the meaning of the old man's words. Since he had participated in the preliminary round to join a 5-star academy, then his spiritual root should not be too good. In the 5-star academies, the core disciples with good spiritual roots were protected. If they did not reach a certain level, then they would be restricted from going anywhere. Because of this, among the top 10 in the preliminary round, only the 7th place was from the God Wind Academy. It can be said that among the top 10 in the preliminary round, the God Wind Academy was the weakest. Because of this, Ning Qing originally wanted to go to the God Wind Academy. After all, the rarer things were, the more precious they were. Now that the old man from the God Wind Academy had spoken, he was even more satisfied. Seeing that the other 2 academies were about to speak, Ning Qing hurriedly cupped his fists and said, "Many thanks for the senior's kindness. This junior wanted to go to the God Wind Academy. Because this junior's spiritual root is a multi-line hybrid spiritual root, and was only able to advance to the true condensation first level by chance. The God Wind Academy does not care about the strength of one's spiritual root. For this junior it could not be better. But this junior has a small request." Although the old man from the God Wind Academy invited Ning Cheng, but in his heart he did not have even half a shred of confidence. Among all the 5-star academies in the Hua continent, the God Wind Academy was the weakest and also the worst. So in the competition for the 6-star academies, they were also the least confident. It could even be said that they were accompanying the Crown Prince to study. Now that Ning Cheng had joined them, at least he would be able to get a good score in the written exam. Even if he lost in the end, he would not lose too much face. Because he had also heard a rumor, that was, once one of the 5-star academies was promoted to a 6-star academy, then one of the 4-star academies in the Hua continent would be promoted to a 5-star academy. But if the God Wind Academy's results were too bad, then they might even be squeezed out of the 5-star academies. "What is your request? You can just say it." The old man from the God Wind Academy was even more excited as he spoke. As for Ning Cheng saying that he had a multi-line hybrid spiritual root, he directly ignored it. Before Ning Cheng had said that he had obtained a spiritual essence spring pond, but was only able to advance to the true condensation first level, it could be seen that this Ning Xiao Cheng's qualifications were really not that good. "I have 2 friends, who also want to join the God Wind Academy with me. I don't know." Ning Cheng had already received a hint from Zhu Mu'er, and at this time he certainly had to state his conditions. Of these 2 friends, other than Ji Luofei, the other one was naturally Zhu Mu'er. After getting to know Zhu Mu'er, Ning Cheng knew that this Zhu Mu'er had a straightforward personality, and was not a scheming person. Coupled with the fact that he had obtained some benefits from Zhu Mu'er, it was only right for him to give a spot to Zhu Mu'er. As for whether Zhu Mu'er wanted it or not, it was her own business. He must join a 5-star academy. Not only did he want to seek an opportunity to go to an intermediate class continent, but he also wanted to take advantage of the 5-star academies to study. Because he had not studied systematically, he felt that compared to the cultivators of the same level, some of the basic things that he understood were very few. Of course, as long as your two friends' spiritual roots are not bad, then they can enter the inner sect of my God-Wind Academy. The old man from the God-Wind Academy agreed to Ning Cheng's request without any hesitation. After the old man finished, he seemed to think that he should introduce himself, and quickly added, "I am the God-Wind Academy's Lu Xian, who is in charge of external affairs. If you come to my God-Wind Academy, if you have any difficulties, then you can directly look for me." Seeing that Ning Cheng had already decided to join the God-Wind Academy, although the other two 5-star academies were very disappointed, but they could do nothing about it. Luo Fei. Ning Cheng, along with Ji Luo Fei and Zhu Mu'er, followed the people from the God-Wind Academy. Ji Yao he could clearly see them. When she recognized Ji Luo Fei, she almost called out. Fortunately, she knew that she could not call out Ji Luo Fei's name. Ji Luo Fei was a person that the Shui clan had taken a fancy to. Once the Shui clan came to know that Ji Luo Fei had returned to the Moze city, and was even mixed up with Ning Cheng, it would definitely not be good for Ji Luo Fei. She did not care about Ning Cheng's life or death, but Ji Luo Fei was after all her niece. She wanted Ji Luo Fei to marry into the Shui clan, although it was for her own sake, but she also wanted to help Ji Luo Fei. Ning Cheng was just a disciple of the God-Wind Academy, and could not contend against a colossus like the Shui clan. Thinking until here, Ji Yao he decided not to look for Ji Luo Fei for the time being. That is Luo Fei, it must be Luo Fei. Luo Fei really came to the Hua continent. In the corner of the Moze city's Grand Plaza, a middle-aged beautiful woman was also staring at Ji Luo Fei, but her voice was trembling, and her expression was also extremely excited. When she first saw the girl with a veil covering her face beside Ning Cheng, she immediately knew that it was her daughter, Ji Luo Fei. This middle-aged beautiful woman was Xiong Qi Hua. After Ning Cheng recognized her, she could no longer stay in the Dawn Forest for even a day. She wanted to come out to look for her daughter, Ji Luo Fei. The man beside her was Zhu Hongwen. His heart was also filled with bitterness. Zhu Hongwen actually did not want Xiong Qi Hua to see Ji Luo Fei so soon. So when Xiong Qi Hua was preparing to go to the Ping continent, he took the initiative to ask Xiong Qi Hua to first go to the Yuan continent to look for her daughter, Ji Luo Fei. Of course, since the relationship between Ning Cheng and Ji Luo Fei was not ordinary, since Ning Cheng went to the Yuan continent, then Ji Luo Fei would definitely be in the Yuan continent. Xiong Qi Hua used her own measure to measure others. No matter where she went, it was always right to follow the person she liked. So she felt that what Zhu Hongwen said was right, and left the Dawn Forest to go to the Yuan continent. After arriving at the Yuan continent, the two of them came to know that the Hua continent's Moze city was holding a joint disciple recruitment event for the 5-star academies. Zhu Hongwen also said that Ji Luo Fei would certainly be like many other people, and would definitely go to the Hua continent's Moze city. Perhaps Ji Luo Fei's qualifications were good, and would be selected by the 5-star academies. Ji Luo Fei was Xiong Qi Hua's daughter. Xiong Qi Hua certainly would not think that her daughter's qualifications were not good, so the two of them rushed from the Yuan continent to the Hua continent. If not for Zhu Hongwen's experience in the Thunder Fall Desert and the safety route map, the two of them would have already fallen in the Thunder Fall Desert. What Zhu Hongwen did not expect was that when they arrived at the Hua continent's Moze city, they would actually see Ji Luo Fei. Moreover, his guess was not wrong. Ning Cheng and Ji Luo Fei were together. Not only that, this person called Ning Xiaoqing was also the first in the written exam. Chapter 98. Looks like we found the right one. Zhu Hongwen also said with a pleasantly surprised tone. Only he himself knew whether he was really surprised or not. Hongwen, I'm going to see Luofei. Xiong Qihua completely forgot about the things she had discussed with Zhu Hongwen before and rushed towards Ji Luofei. Zhu Hongwen quickly pulled Xiong Qihua and spoke, Qihua, I also hope that you can see Luofei as soon as possible, but now Luofei is together with that Ning Xiaocheng. The relationship between the two of them is obviously very close. I'm sure that Ning Xiaocheng has already spoken about our matter. It would be better if you don't go to see Luofei, but once you go to see Luofei, it might cause you, mother and daughter, to never have the chance to recognize each other again. Saying that, Zhu Hongwen felt that it was not enough, and added, this Ning Xiaocheng is treacherous and cunning, for him to be together with Luofei, it is definitely because of his flowery words and honeyed words. Since we injured him in the Dawn Forest, I am sure that he will exaggerate the things that happened between you and me, and will even slander us. Then what should we do? Xiong Qihua's complexion was pale, she did not know what she should do. Qihua, you don't have to worry about it. Let's just follow what we discussed before. Let's first follow Luofei and see where Luofei lives. Then when Luofei and Ningqing separate, we can go look for Luofei. Zhu Hongwen spoke with a calm voice. But Xiong Qihua's tone had already eased a lot, that Ning Xiaocheng looks quite good, not only is he powerful, but he also obtained the status of a core disciple of the God Wind Academy, his future is very bright. I think it would be good for Luofei to follow him. After Ningqing had spied on her and Zhu Hongwen's private matters, she only wanted to kill Ningqing. But now that she saw that Ji Luofei and Ningqing had a close relationship, she couldn't help but hesitate. She did not know if Ji Luofei would feel sad after she killed that Ning Xiaocheng. At the same time, in the depths of her heart, she felt that Ningqing was worthy of her daughter. Qihua, you are still too kind. On the surface, there were tens of thousands of people who looked good, not to mention that Ning Xiaocheng would have to participate in the preliminary written test, his qualifications would definitely not be good enough. Even if Ning Xiaocheng's qualifications were good, with a crafty person like him and Luofei together, the one who would end up injured would still be Luofei. Moreover, you can see that there is another woman beside him. That woman is definitely a shrewish person. How can Luofei deal with them? Zhu Hongwen stared at the back of Ningqing and Ji Luofei as they left. Seeing that Xiong Qihua seemed to be at a loss, Zhu Hongwen's tone slowed down a bit and said, that Ning Xiaocheng is not even a student of a 5-star academy, but he has already brought along Luofei and another woman, in the future when he has a firm foothold in the 5-star academy. He was also a core disciple, there were so many beautiful girls in the 5-star academy, so how could there still be a place for Luofei? What's more, if we do not separate Luofei and Ning Xiaocheng, it would be tantamount to you losing your daughter, Luofei. I'll listen to you. Xiong Qihua said weakly, her tone was indecisive. Both of you have dual spiritual roots. In the residence of the God Wind 5-star academy, Deacon Lu Xian came to know that Ji Luofei and Zhu Mu'er both had dual spiritual roots, and was even more satisfied. With dual spiritual roots and a disciple with a good main spiritual root, not to mention an inner sect disciple, even if their performance was outstanding, they would still be able to become a core disciple. Zhu Mu'er was the happiest among them. My father had said several times that he would send me to a 5-star academy, so I relied on my own strength to enter a 5-star academy. When Zhu Mu'er spoke, she completely forgot that she had also relied on Ningqing's help to enter the God Wind Academy. Your father? Lu Xian asked in a puzzled voice. It was reasonable to say that a person who could casually send people to a 5-star academy, should not be some unknown person. Zhu Mu'er proudly said, my father is called Medicine Master Zhu, don't you know him? Lu Xian was startled, and quickly said, so you are senior brother Medicine Master's beloved daughter, it seems that I have neglected you. Ningqing had already guessed that Zhu Mu'er's father was not simple, and now it seems that it really was the case. Even a person like Lu Xian from the God Wind Academy, was very respectful towards Zhu Muer's father. With this layer of relationship with Medicine Master Zhu, Lu Xian was even more enthusiastic towards the Ningqing Trio, and personally led the Ningqing Trio to the God Wind Academy's Jade Card, and went through the formalities to enter the God Wind Academy. After 10 days there will be the semi-finals. The semi-finals will test the ability to comprehend. The top 1,000 must participate. Do you want to move to the God Wind Academy to live here? In order to prepare for the semi-finals 10 days later. Although Ning Cheng was already a disciple of the God Wind Academy, but Lu Xian still cared about Ning Cheng's opinion when he spoke. Many thanks Deacon Lu, I still have some personal matters to attend to, so I will not be staying here for the time being. But I will not leave the Moze city, moreover in 10 days' time I will participate in the semi-finals. Ning Cheng quickly refused. He had the mysterious yellow bead on him, if not for the fact that he had no other choice, he did not want to live together with a profound congealing master. Of course you have to prioritize your own matters. After 10 days, you can directly come to the Moze city's plaza. Towards Ning Cheng, Lu Xian was incomparably tolerant. Ning Cheng was not interested in staying in the God Wind Academy station, and Ji Luofei obviously would not stay here. It was even more impossible for Zhu Muer to stay here alone, plus she thought that now that she was able to enter a 5-star academy with her own ability, at this time, she could go and report to her father. Meaning, you see, I don't need your help, with my own ability I was able to enter the God Wind Academy. Luofei, in these 10 days, it would be best if we do not go out, the Moze city is not necessarily a safe place. Returning to the rest stop, Ning Cheng first told Ji Luofei not to go out. I feel that I will soon advance to the Qi Gathering 6th level, so I will stay here and cultivate for the next few days. Ji Luofei quickly replied, even if Ning Cheng did not tell her, she would not go to the main street of the Moze city alone. Ji Luofei went into seclusion to attack the Qi Gathering 6th level, while Ning Cheng was also preparing to promote his own cultivation in these 10 days. After his meridians had been transformed by the mysterious yellow origin, wanting to cultivate to the great circle of the true condensation 1st level, was several times more difficult than before. This was not because his qualifications had deteriorated, but because the resources that he needed for his cultivation were much more than before. If he did not have more resources for his cultivation, then for Ning Cheng, expanding his meridians was not necessarily a good thing. That is to say, the resources that he originally needed to cultivate to the essence-building realm, now he would only be able to cultivate to the middle stages of the true condensation realm. You don't need to go into seclusion for the time being, I have something to discuss with you. Ning Cheng had just arranged an isolation array formation, when a familiar voice abruptly sounded in Ning Cheng's ears. Ning Cheng stood up in surprise. Who had come to the room that he had arranged an array formation in, and he did not even know about it? How long has it been, and you don't even recognize your benefactor? This time the voice sounded in front of Ning Cheng, and then Ning Cheng saw a white-haired old woman wearing a blue robe. It's you. How did you? Ning Cheng wanted to ask how this old woman was able to silently come here. He had arranged a few array formations in this room, but he swallowed the words that were on the tip of his tongue. Since this old woman had come, it meant that the other party's cultivation was much more powerful than his own. Moreover, compared to the last time this old woman came, there was a layer of chill around her body. The white-haired old woman slowly walked to a chair and sat down. I really did not think that you would be a Tier 2 array formation master. A trivial Tier 2 array formation to me is just like a layer of bubble. It is not to the extent that I would not be able to come in. Ning Cheng suppressed the shock in his heart and respectfully cupped his fists towards this white-haired old woman and said, Ning Cheng greets Senior, many thanks Senior for helping this junior refine an artifact. If Senior had not given me the inner armor, then this junior would have already fallen. Ning Cheng's words were not nonsense. If this white-haired old woman had not helped him refine the inner armor, and the 7 Pleiades ice needle, then he really might have fallen. These two things had saved him several times. Although he was grateful, but Ning Cheng's heart was equally uncomfortable. He felt that his level of array formations needed to be improved. At least he had to arrange a trigger array formation. Once someone entered his array formation, he would be the first to know. But thinking that this white-haired old woman's cultivation was worlds apart from his, Ning Cheng felt a sense of powerlessness. Perhaps the trigger array that he had arranged was even more powerful, but the other party could still silently enter his room. This had nothing to do with the level of array formations, this was the disparity between their cultivations. You thanked me for refining the inner armor, which means that you obtained 100 points in the preliminary round by relying on your own ability, and did not thank me because of this? To Ning Cheng's surprise, the white-haired old woman said something that Ning Cheng did not understand. Ning Cheng was also puzzled in his heart. He had obtained the first place, but it was completely based on his own memory. What did this have to do with this white-haired old woman? When you received my wooden box, did you not receive the words that I left for you? The white-haired old woman saw that Ning Cheng was puzzled, and once again reminded him. Ning Cheng immediately remembered the words that the ugly youth had said when he handed over the wooden box. First, Madame Gong's son gave this to me before she left. She said, the things that you want are inside, and I hope that you will act according to your capabilities. At that time he had thought that it was just a 7 Pleiades ice needle. What was the point of acting according to one's capabilities? Now that he thought about it, the white-haired old woman's words seemed to be referring to something. Inside the wooden box, other than the inner armor and the ice needle, there did not seem to be anything else. Ning Cheng thought until here, and immediately took out the empty wooden box. At the same time he swept out with his spiritual consciousness into the wooden box. The next moment he vaguely saw a jade strip sealed at the bottom of the wooden box. You can take out the jade strip. The old woman knew that Ning Cheng had already discovered the jade strip. Ning Cheng crushed the bottom of the wooden box, and after taking out the jade strip, he asked in a puzzled voice, Senior, what is this jade strip? You can see for yourself. The old woman spoke in a flat tone. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept into the jade strip, and immediately saw the contents inside. It turned out to be the basics of alchemy. This jade strip was very complex, and the contents inside were simply innumerable. The beginning of the jade strip was the basics of spiritual grasses. When Ning Cheng saw the basics of spiritual grasses, he immediately understood what was going on. This basics of spiritual grasses and the contents of the preliminary round were exactly the same, but compared to the preliminary round, there were a lot more spiritual grasses. Seeing Ning Cheng see the contents of the jade strip, the old woman said in a light voice, I was sincere to you, and helped you a lot, but you deceived this old woman. Chapter 99. Ning Cheng reacted quickly. When the old woman said that he had deceived her, he immediately understood what was going on. He had not read the basic spiritual grasses, but was still able to score 100 points. This also showed that his memory was indeed very strong. He could never forget anything he saw. Since his memory was so strong, then the old woman had given him the concealment method jade strip. As long as he looked at it once, he would definitely be able to remember it. But he had told the white-haired old woman that he did not want the jade strip, and even said it in a resolute manner. Now that the white-haired old woman caught him in the act, even if he wanted to deny it, he could not deny it. Thinking till here, Ning Cheng awkwardly said, Senior, this junior had already remembered the contents of the concealment method jade strip, so I did not want the jade strip. This junior really did deceive Senior, please punish me Senior. Ning Cheng could only act like a rogue. This white-haired old woman's cultivation was much higher than his. If she really wanted to harm him, then no matter what he said, it would be meaningless. The white-haired old woman still spoke unhurriedly, it's good that you know, since your memory is so strong, then I will not take back this alchemy jade strip. Maybe one day you will really become a top-tier alchemy Grand Master. Many thanks Senior. Ning Cheng awkwardly said, and put away the jade strip. He still felt a little uneasy in his heart. He and this old woman were not related, but the other party seemed to be very good to him. This made Ning Cheng, who believed that there would not be a meat pie falling from the sky, unable to understand what was going on. The old woman seemed to know what Ning Cheng was thinking, and suddenly said, "Do you think that I am very unusual to you? So you feel a little uneasy in your heart?" Not waiting for Ning Cheng to speak, the old woman continued, "Initially I thought that you were an honest person, plus the one-horned flood dragon material that you gave me was of great use to me, so I decided to help you a bit. Although the level of your one-horned flood dragon is not high, but the one-horned flood dragon is a very rare thing, to be able to obtain it is already very great." Ning Cheng finally understood why the old woman had given him the foundation of alchemy. It turned out to be like this. "You should not think that the alchemy jade strip that I gave you is very ordinary. In fact, the foundation of alchemy that I gave you, even in the entire I Ching mainland, is the top of the top. If you study alchemy, then you will understand it in the future. But for me, the one-horned flood dragon is more useful." As the old woman spoke till here, she carefully stared at Ning Cheng for a long time, and then continued, "The last time I gave you the foundation of alchemy, there was another reason. The last time I saw you, you had an unfathomable aura. This aura is amazing, and I don't know what it is. Why is it that when I saw you this time, the aura on your body disappeared? Or should I say, I can't sense it anymore." Ning Cheng used his strong heart to suppress the fear in his heart, and put on a look of not understanding the situation, as he frowned and said, "Senior, do I have a great aura on me? What was that? Could it be because I went to the spirit pith spring to cultivate?" The white-haired old woman gave a meaningful glance at Ning Cheng, and then shook her head in affirmation, "Absolutely not." Then she did not continue to ask about the aura on Ning Cheng's body. Instead her tone became a bit more gentle and said, "The last time you deceived me, I will not pursue it, but you have to help me with one thing." Ning Cheng immediately replied, "If there is anything that you need this junior's help with, senior, please do not hesitate to tell me. As long as this junior is able to do it, this junior will definitely not decline. You should be almost the same. I have seen the last additional question of the 5th written exam. You were able to solve this question in such a short period of time, without even using your spiritual sense. It shows that you have a special ability, that is, your computing ability is extremely strong." The old woman's words had an unquestionable tone. Ning Cheng knew that, whether he was willing or not, he would have to help her, as such he simply kept his mouth shut. The white-haired old woman did not change her mind because of Ning Cheng's attitude, and continued, "At the intersection of the Thunder Fall Desert and the Hua continent, there is a river. This river is called the Thunder Fall Scorching River. In this Thunder Fall Scorching River there is something. For this thing I have been preparing for many years. But even after I had prepared everything, I found that I still could not obtain this thing. Your mental arithmetic ability is extremely strong. Perhaps you can help me with something." Ning Cheng did not even think about it, and directly said, "Yes, after I finish the semi-finals, I will accompany senior to the Thunder Fall Scorching River." He knew that even if he did not want to go, this white-haired old woman would still ask him to go. Now he could only hope that after this old woman obtained this thing, she would not kill him. But this old woman looked like a good person. It was reasonable to say that she would not kill him. "No, you will accompany me now. At most it will only take 2 or 3 days, your semi-finals are still about 10 days away, there is no delay at all." The white-haired old woman simply said. Ning Cheng was just about to say that they would not be able to reach the edge of the Thunder Fall Desert in 2 or 3 days, but thinking about the cultivation of the opposite party, he understood that the old woman in front of him would not be able to reach the edge of the Thunder Fall Desert in 2 or 3 days. Ning Cheng sighed in his heart and said, "Since that is the case, then let's go together. I will go and speak to my companion, so that she will not be anxious if she cannot find me." "No, your little woman is currently in seclusion, it would be best if you do not disturb her." The white-haired old woman did not wait for Ning Cheng to speak again, and immediately grabbed Ning Cheng out of the rest stop. Ning Cheng spoke with some anger in his voice, "I have to leave a letter. You are too unreasonable." The white-haired old woman seemed to feel a little embarrassed, and let go of Ning Cheng, but still said, "I will be back soon, there is no need to leave a letter. You have a lot of time to be lovey-dovey with each other, and do not care about these few days. Facing this unreasonable old woman, Ning Cheng was too lazy to argue with her. He only hoped that this woman would keep her promise, and would bring him back to the Moze city in 2 to 3 days. Inside the Moze city, the old woman did not urge Ning Cheng. But she walked very fast, and in just a short time, they were already out of the Moze city. Ning Cheng followed behind the old woman, and could only speed up. The old woman did not immediately take out her flight-type magical weapon, and after leaving the Moze city, she continued to speed up. He estimated that she wanted to find a place where there was no one around to bring out her flight-type magical weapon. Because they had just left the city, there were still a lot of people walking on the main road. In addition to the cultivators coming and going, there were also some adventurers coming and going from the Moze city. When Ning Cheng passed by 2 male cultivators, he suddenly heard one of them say, "Junior apprentice Sister Yu Jing, this time Dean Man wants to take us to the Thunder Fall Desert, do you know why?" "I am not very clear. I heard that the ruins of the Lani country had appeared in the Thunder Fall Desert, many people went to look for it, but I have never heard anyone say that they found any ruins. This time Dean Man wants to take us to the Thunder Fall Desert, it is very likely that it is because of this matter. I guess that it is mainly for the sake of the core disciple trial of the Falling Star Academy." The other person replied in a soft voice. Ning Cheng immediately slowed down his pace. The voice that answered him was obviously a woman's voice. Of the 2 male cultivators, one of them was dressed as a woman. Moreover, he also caught a few keywords: Yu Jing, core disciple, Falling Star Academy. From these keywords, Ning Cheng was almost certain that this female cultivator dressed as a man was Meng Yujing. Ning Cheng slowed down his pace, and Meng Yujing and the other person immediately walked past him. He used his spiritual consciousness to sweep at Meng Yujing, and found that her face was covered with a veil that blocked his spiritual consciousness. However, Ning Cheng could see from her exposed eyes, that she was an absolute beauty. Her eyes were incomparably beautiful. If not for Meng Yujing covering her face, Ning Cheng would have gone up to her to talk to her, and then hand over the things to her. "What the hell are you doing? Hurry up, don't dawdle." The white-haired old woman did not know when she suddenly arrived at Ning Cheng's side, but she was very dissatisfied with Ning Cheng dawdling behind her. Ning Cheng quickly said, "Senior, one of the 2 people who just passed by is called Meng Yujing. I saw her go out with the other person. I just happened to have something to look for her, so I will have to delay a little bit, and follow them from behind." The white-haired old woman frowned and said, "Ning Cheng, you already have a woman called Ji Luo Fei, don't fall in love with her. The true cultivator's world is filled with countless beautiful women, you might not even like them all. Besides that Meng Yujing is a peerless beauty, and is also a proud disciple of the Falling Star Academy. Even if you are a disciple of the God Wind Academy, and even if you were the first in the preliminary round, she would not even look at you. You should just give up on this idea. Senior Gong's son, I don't have the hobby of falling in love with anyone I see. Even if it is Ji Luo Fei, we are just friends. The reason why I am looking for Meng Yujing is because I really have something to do. It is very difficult for me to meet her. Now that I have met her, of course I have to talk about it." Ning Cheng said in a somewhat uncomfortable manner. This old woman was using herself as a measure for others. When did I fall in love with anyone I see? Even if it was with Ji Luo Fei, there was also a reason for it. Then why don't you just go up and say it? The old woman said with some impatience. Ning Cheng simply refused. "No, I have to first investigate her character. Then, I will determine if I have something to do with her." Meng Yujing was Ko Hong's fiancée, and now she was very intimate with another man. If Meng Yujing was really like that Xiong Chi Hua, then Ning Cheng was not willing to hand over Ko Hong's things to her. He had obtained some benefits from Ko Hong, so he had to be responsible for Ko Hong. He believed that even if Ko Hong was alive, he would not be willing to see his fiancée being intimate with another man. The white-haired old woman helplessly said, "Since that is the case, then let's follow her. It is really difficult for me to ask you for help, when you first came to me to refine artifacts, when you asked me to teach you the basics of alchemy, didn't I hesitate? I even gave you an inner armor. Chapter 100. Ning Cheng ignored the chattering white-haired old woman on the side, and concealed his figure as he followed behind Meng Yujing. Half an hour later, the two of them were far away from the Moze city, and arrived at a mountain village. There were not many people in the mountain village. There were about a dozen families. There were many such mountain villages around the Moze city. Most of them were adventurers, or merchants who often went to the Moze city to do business, and a small part of them were local residents. Just when Ning Cheng did not know what Meng Yujing and the man wanted to do, she and the man entered a house in the corner of the mountain village. Ning Cheng quickly arrived at the window of the house and carefully probed it with his spiritual sense. The inside of the house unexpectedly had everything. Not only was there a living room, but there were also bedrooms. Moreover, looking at the movements of Meng Yujing and the man, one could tell that they often came to this room. "Junior sister Yujing, hasn't he come to find you yet?" the man asked absent-mindedly. "No, I guess he went to look for his younger brother. When he has the opportunity, he will definitely come to find me." Meng Yujing's voice was very low, as if she was thinking about something far away. "Junior apprentice sister Yujing." The man suddenly appeared in front of Meng Yujing, with one hand wrapped around Meng Yujing's waist, while the other hand climbed onto Meng Yujing's chest. Ning Cheng's heart was filled with sorrow for that Ko Hong. Even before he died, he was still thinking about his fiancée, and wanted him to deliver the things to his fiancée, but he did not think that his fiancée had already changed her mind. If Ko Hong knew that his fiancée was such a person, he probably wouldn't continue to ask him to send gifts over. Ning Cheng was still guessing whether this small house was the place where Meng Yujing and her new lover often met up, when he felt the back of his neck tighten. The next moment he could not help but be taken away from this place. The white-haired old woman threw Ning Cheng to the ground and said, "You're so young, yet you're not afraid of being cross-eyed. What's so interesting about this thing? Hurry up and come with me to the Thunder Fall Scorching River." Although Ning Cheng did not say it out loud, but in his heart he spat out a "ba" sound. If this old woman also had cross eyes, then in some place flooded with V's, cross eyes would already be everywhere. This old woman really did not have any experience. Besides, if she didn't look at it herself, how would she know what he was looking at? The white-haired old woman really was not bragging, as she brought Ning Cheng along with her for less than half a day before they arrived at the Thunder Fall Scorching River. In Ning Cheng's view, the distance from the Thunder Fall Scorching River to the Moze city was much further compared to the distance from the Thunder Fall Desert to the Moze city. This white-haired old woman had used a very ordinary flight-type magical weapon to bring him here in such a short period of time. From this, one could see how powerful she was. Moreover, Ning Cheng even suspected that she had not used her full strength. Looking at the Thunder Fall Scorching River from the flying artifact, it was a boundless body of water. Thin ripples flowed on the surface of the water, making people feel that this was an extremely gentle river. But the color of the water was extremely deep. It made Ning Cheng involuntarily think of the Quicksand River in the Journey to the West. 800 flowing sands realm, 3,000 weak waters. If goose feathers cannot float, reed flowers will sink to the bottom. Why is it so cold here? Ning Cheng had just stepped out of the flight-type magical weapon, when he immediately asked in a surprised voice. Just by hearing the name Thunder Fall Scorching River, one could tell that the temperature of the river was definitely very high. At the very least, it would only be the same as an ordinary river. It was impossible to call such a bone-chilling place the Scorching River. He was still at the riverside, but Ning Cheng could already feel the cold. If he entered the river, then would he still be able to live? One must know that he was a cultivator at the true condensation first level. Even if he did not revolve his true essence, he would not be so afraid of the cold. Because this river has another name, it is called the Forbidden Cold River. The Thunder Fall Scorching River that I am talking about is the name of this river from countless years ago. Now there are not many people who know the name of the Thunder Fall Scorching River. Most people only know that this is one of the two forbidden cold lands of the I Ching mainland, the Forbidden Cold River. A lot of people say that the real forbidden cold land of the I Ching mainland is the Sickwood Cold Cave, but they are all wrong. The real cold land of the I Ching mainland is here, the Forbidden Cold River. The white-haired old woman seemed to be explaining to Ning Cheng, but also seemed to be talking to herself. Ning Cheng did not think that this old woman was wrong. He was still standing at the riverside, but he could already feel the bone-chilling cold. Once he entered the river, how terrible would it be? The reason why I stayed in the Nanyuan city, is because I was poisoned by the cold poison here. I had thought that I would never come here again in my life, but I did not expect that you would unexpectedly send me the materials of the one-horned flood dragon. I think that this might be the will of the heavens, to let me once again enter the forbidden cold river. The old woman sighed, and unexpectedly spoke out the things that Ning Cheng did not ask. Why must you use the one-horned flood dragon? Ning Cheng asked in a puzzled voice. The white-haired old woman stared at the rippling river in front of her, and spoke in a slow voice. No matter how high your cultivation is, even if you are a powerful body refiner, you will not be able to resist the bone-chilling cold of this cold river. Only by refining the materials of the one-horned flood dragon into a water boat-type artifact, can you enter the cold river, and reduce the invasion of the cold poison to a minimum. Moreover, the horn of the one-horned flood dragon can be used to refine the bow of the boat, and its speed in the cold river is also the fastest. Ning Cheng suddenly understood. No wonder this white-haired old woman's cultivation was so high, but she still attached such importance to his class 4 one-horned flood dragon. Originally it was to explore the cold river, but he did not know what kind of treasure was inside the cold river, for this old woman to care so much about it. Before, I found 2 pieces of one-horned flood dragon materials. The first one-horned flood dragon was a class 7 monstrous beast. Its materials almost made me search the entire cold river. Unfortunately, just as I was about to find what I needed, the water boat-type artifact refined by the one-horned flood dragon was also corroded by the cold poison. Later, after many years, I was able to obtain the materials of a class 5 one-horned flood dragon. When Ning Cheng heard the white-haired old woman speak till here, his heart started to beat wildly. This white-haired old woman was able to obtain the materials of a class 7 one-horned flood dragon. Just how terrifying was her cultivation. At the very least, she should be in the soul sculpting realm, right? No wonder she was able to come to his room without making any noise. The white-haired old woman did not know that Ning Cheng was thinking about her terrifying cultivation, and still continued to speak. The water boat that was refined from the class 5 one-horned flood dragon materials, compared to the water boat that was refined from the class 7 horned flood dragon materials, the difference was too much. When I entered the cold river for the 3rd time, the water boat unexpectedly began to break. It just so happened that at that time, I found what I was looking for. I thought that even if the water boat broke, with my ability, it should not be a problem for me to persist for a couple of hours. Ning Cheng was once again worried in his heart. The water boat that the white-haired old woman refined from the class 5 one-horned flood dragon, could only persist for 3 times in the cold river before it broke. Then wouldn't the class 4 one-horned flood dragon that he gave to the white-haired old woman not be able to persist for even a single trip? Once the water boat broke, wouldn't it be difficult for him to persist for a few breaths? Sure enough, the white-haired old woman continued, but I overestimated my own ability. I was not able to persist for an hour, before I was hit by a very heavy cold poison. In desperation, I could only withdraw from the cold river, and hid in a small place in Nanyuan City to heal. If I had not met you, I thought that I would never be able to come here again. Senior, that class 5 horned flood dragon was not able to persist for 3 times. The one-horned flood dragon that I gave to Senior was only a class 4 horned flood dragon. Wouldn't it be even more? Ning Cheng's words had not yet finished, when the white-haired old woman already understood the meaning of Ning Cheng's words, and said in a light voice, "You don't have to worry, my level of artifact crafting has also improved a lot. Moreover, this time we only need to make 1 trip. Moreover, I know the path this time, so we will be able to reach the bottom of the river in the shortest time possible. Of course, if you are too slow when calculating the entrance, and the water boat breaks, then I can do nothing about it. At most, I will accompany you to die at the bottom of the cold river." Ning Cheng cursed in his heart, "Who would want an old woman like you to accompany me to death?" But in the end he could not find a reason to resist. The white-haired old woman simply ignored Ning Cheng's silent resistance, and directly brought out a black-horned half-moon boat. At the same time, she patted the hull of the half-moon boat, and a hatch appeared in the middle, just like a space capsule. The old woman first entered the hatch, and then said to Ning Cheng, "Quickly come in." Ning Cheng had no choice but to enter the hatch. The inside of the cabin was very small, only 2 people could squeeze in. Fortunately, one of them was a white-haired old woman, while the other was less than 20 years old, as such there would not be any awkwardness. After Ning Cheng was led into the cabin by the old woman, the white-haired old woman immediately closed the hatch, raised her hand and took out a few spirit stones and inserted them into the groove in front of the 2 people, while simultaneously controlling the water boat to enter the river. Even if they were inside the cabin, after the water boat entered the cold river, a kind of bone-chilling cold made Ning Cheng involuntarily shiver. Ning Cheng's heart simultaneously jumped, he was incomparably shocked. The white-haired old woman thought that Ning Cheng was shocked because of the bone-chilling cold, and spoke with some disdain, "We have just entered the cold river, the inside of it is countless times colder than this." Only Ning Cheng knew that he was not shocked because of the cold river. A moment ago when the old woman had taken out the spirit stones and inserted them into the groove, Ning Cheng could clearly see that the white-haired old woman's wrist was white and smooth. This was definitely not the wrist of an old woman. Even Ji Luofei's wrist was not as smooth as this. Chapter 101. This old woman was definitely in disguise. Ning Cheng immediately came to this conclusion. It was impossible for an old woman to have wrinkles on her face, and her hands were also incomparably old, but her wrist was as smooth as jade. But Ning Cheng soon calmed down. Whether it was a blessing or a curse, if it was a curse he could not avoid it. Whether the other party was an old woman or a young woman, he was the weaker party. Once he put aside his worries, Ning Cheng's mind immediately opened up. Then he found that in addition to the increasingly cold water, the speed of the water boat was also getting slower and slower. "Senior, is this what you meant by fast?" Ning Cheng asked. "This kind of speed could also be called the fastest." "Yes, this is the speed." The old woman simply replied. She was too lazy to explain further. Ning Cheng was helpless, he could only circulate his true essence to resist the surrounding cold. His spiritual sense could only pass through the water boat's array formation, and was limited to a radius of 3 to 5 meters around the water boat. Once he went out of this range, his spiritual sense would disappear without a trace. Ning Cheng was secretly shocked in his heart. Once the water boat broke, in this kind of terrible cold, would he be able to persist for even a quarter of an hour? After an hour passed, in addition to the increasingly cold air, Ning Cheng could only feel that the water boat was getting deeper and deeper into the water. After another hour passed, Ning Cheng suddenly heard a crisp "ka" sound. He was startled, and immediately turned to ask the old woman what was going on. He did not expect that the old woman would take the initiative to speak. "I did not expect that with your trivial cultivation of true condensation first level, your true essence would be so rich, to be able to withstand the cold in this place." "Senior, do not divert my attention. Did our water boat make a sound?" Ning Cheng at this time did not care about respecting the old, and asked in a reproachful tone. The old woman had said that this water boat would be able to safely bring him to the shore, but now he had not even reached the bottom of the water, and the water boat had already cracked. How would he go back? That's right, a moment ago the water boat really did crack. I did not think that this class 4 one-horned flood dragon would be so weak. We have not even reached the place, and it has already begun to crack. The white-haired old woman spoke in a calm tone, without even a shred of surprise. But, Ning Cheng had just spoken these two words, when this white-haired old woman continued, "You don't need to say, but, our water boat will soon arrive, you will not die." Ning Cheng could only shut up. Even if the white-haired old woman let him go, he would not be able to leave. "Senior, can you tell me what's in this cold river? I can help out later. Otherwise, when I reach the bottom of the river, I'll have to waste time again." Ning Cheng thought that since he already knew about this secret, then even if this old woman wanted to kill him to silence him, it would still be better for him to know more about it. The white-haired old woman did not conceal anything, and spoke in a gentle tone. Many years ago, the forbidden cold river was still called the Thunder Fall Scorching River. One day, an extremely terrifying giant axe shadow fell over the Yixing mainland. This giant axe chopped down on the edge of the Yixing mainland. Perhaps because of the extraordinary origin of this giant axe, all kinds of rare spirit grasses and all kinds of natural treasures have been growing crazily in this tens of thousands of miles long gorge. Could it be that Senior is talking about the Angry Axe Valley? When Ning Cheng was on the airship, he had already heard about the Angry Axe Valley, so when this old woman spoke about it, he immediately reacted. But what he did not understand was, this was the forbidden cold river. What kind of relationship did it have with the Angry Axe Valley? The old woman nodded and said, "That's right, it is the Angry Axe Valley. There are many people who know about the Angry Axe Valley, but no one knows that when that giant axe shadow fell, there was another thing that fell. That thing did not fall in the Angry Axe Valley, but fell in the Thunder Fall Scorching River. Senior, are you looking for another thing that fell from the void?" Ning Cheng immediately came to understand. "That's right, I am looking for another thing." In fact, there were a few people who knew about the thing that fell from the Thunder Fall Scorching River, but because they could not find it, they thought that it was a misinformation. Because of the thing that fell from the void, it made the temperature of the Thunder Fall Scorching River lower and lower, and as a result, the people who could enter the Thunder Fall Scorching River were even fewer. I also came to know about the matter of the Thunder Fall Scorching River by chance. As the white-haired old woman spoke till here, her tone was filled with a bit of pride. It was obvious that she was proud of the fact that other people did not know about it, but she knew about it. Seeing Ning Cheng remain silent, the old woman took the initiative and said, "That Angry Axe Valley actually has a lot of good things. In the future, if you can enter the Angry Axe Valley, it would definitely benefit you for a lifetime. Of course, the premise is that you can come out alive. Is the Angry Axe Valley not a mystic place? I heard that it has a time limit." Ning Cheng quickly asked. The white-haired old woman snorted and said, "Countless years ago, the Yixing mainland was rich in resources, and had many powerhouses. Crucible transformation cultivators could be seen everywhere. At that time, the Angry Axe Valley was not a mystic place. Some of the powerhouses entered the Angry Axe Valley to look for opportunities. Because the Angry Axe Valley had too many good things, it resulted in many killings between the powerhouses. As more and more of the experts died, finally all the crucible transformation cultivators sat down. They mutually agreed that the Angry Axe Valley would not allow any cultivators above the essence building realm to enter. Moreover, they jointly turned the Angry Axe Valley into a mystic place. Only with a specific jade card, one could enter the Angry Axe Valley. Later on, the Angry Axe Valley became a fixed place for true condensation or chi gathering cultivators to gain experience. As Ning Cheng listened to it, he once again heard a ka sound. Ning Cheng's complexion immediately turned ugly. It seems that the quality of this water boat was not good. He was already thinking that when the water boat exploded, he would be the first to enter the mysterious yellow bead. Since the time when he involuntarily entered the mysterious yellow bead, he had never tried to enter the mysterious yellow bead. Even Ning Cheng himself did not know whether he could go in or not. "We're here." The white-haired old woman's voice promptly interrupted Ning Cheng's train of thoughts. Not waiting for Ning Cheng to speak, the white-haired old woman opened the hatch of the water boat, and simultaneously took out an array flag and threw it out. The next moment, the old woman grabbed Ning Cheng, and brought Ning Cheng out of the water boat. Just as Ning Cheng came out of the half-moon water boat magical weapon, he immediately felt a bone-chilling cold invade his body. Not only did his true essence not have even the slightest effect, he was simply unable to circulate it. Not only that, even his spiritual sense could not be used. It's over, Ning Cheng had just thought of this, when the white-haired old woman brought out a fiery red round cover. The round cover completely covered her and Ning Cheng. After Ning Cheng was covered by the round cover, the cold feeling in his body instantly disappeared. As the chill disappeared, Ning Cheng immediately saw a huge aqua-colored door. The color of this door was the same as the color of the water of the cold river. If not for the old woman bringing him out, he would not have been able to see it clearly. Ning Cheng immediately felt a kind of ancient vicissitudes of life. Ning Cheng immediately knew that this door was definitely not ordinary. What the old woman said was right, this was definitely a treasure among treasures, but unfortunately, this treasure was not his. Even if he obtained it, it would be taken away by the old woman. Ning Cheng subconsciously wanted to sweep out with his spiritual sense, but immediately felt a pain in his zifu. He was simply unable to sweep out with his spiritual sense. He looked at the white-haired old woman next to him, and was surprised to find that the white-haired old woman was trembling, and her face was even paler. It was obvious that the white-haired old woman was also struggling to control this shield. "Do you see the thing on the door?" The old woman seemed to be completely unaware that she was already struggling, as she spoke to Ning Cheng with an incomparably excited tone. Ning Cheng could clearly hear that her voice was somewhat distorted and trembling. This distorted voice was completely different from her usual old voice. There were only 6 different colored array flags on the door. Other than that, there was nothing else. Ning Cheng was puzzled, when he heard the old woman eagerly speak. "I can't hold on for long, this is the array formation foundation, quickly calculate how many array formation methods there are." Ning Cheng then discovered that under the 6 different colored array flags, there was a row of small characters. Vermilion bird illusion array formation basic changes, 6 different illusion array flags, arranged into 3 flags and 2 rows of changes, can carry out several changes. In the position of the table was a blank. It turned out to be a fill-in-the-blank question. The question for Ning Cheng was extremely simple. It meant that there were 6 different array flags, arranged in 2 rows, with 3 array flags in each row. How many different ways could there be to arrange them? "Senior, this question is so simple, even if you are not able to use your spiritual sense now, after so many years, wouldn't you be able to solve it?" Ning Cheng looked at the white-haired old woman in doubt. He did not believe that such a question, the white-haired old woman would not be able to solve it until now. "Idiot, the question here is different every time, hurry up and calculate it," the white-haired old woman called out in an extremely unhappy tone. Ning Cheng was speechless as he spoke. "If it's so simple, then how could you calculate it? 720 different ways to arrange them." "So simple." The old woman looked at Ning Cheng with some disbelief. Ning Cheng did not even calculate it, and just answered it. It made her somewhat suspicious. Ning Cheng was too lazy to pay attention to this old woman. Believe it or not, it was up to her. The old woman looked at Ning Cheng's expression, and knew that she should not expect Ning Cheng to answer her. She suddenly rushed out of the fiery red shield, and wrote the number 720 in the blank space. Squeak squeak, a soft sound emerged, and the aqua-colored door unexpectedly slowly opened. "Is it really right?" The old woman was immediately pleasantly surprised as she spoke to Ning Cheng. "Without my control, the duration of the shield is limited. You have to find a way to return to the water boat and wait for me. I want to go in." She had not even finished her words, when the old woman had already rushed into the aqua-colored door. Then the aqua-colored door once again slowly closed with a squeak. Ning Cheng stared at the aqua-colored door with a dumbfounded expression. He completely forgot to despise the old woman for not sending him to the half-moon boat's magical weapon cabin. The moment the door opened, he felt a kind of spirit energy that he had never felt before. No, it was definitely not spiritual chi. To be exact, this spiritual chi was many times stronger than spiritual chi. Just by sensing this aura, he felt that his cultivation was rising rapidly. What the hell is this place? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.